Welcome to Weedsday Wednesday, Tucson, Arizona's one online radio podcast about all things medical cannabis. Your host, Belle
and the Cannabis Kid. Our show features news, interviews, and all the latest information about anything and everything medical cannabis related in Tucson, Arizona, and the world at large.
We'd love to hear from you. Please give us a call live at 646-915-8421. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on all social media, or email thctucson@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Tumbleweeds Health Center and Studio C, along with our many sponsors, for hosting our show every week. With the lowest price certifications in town, you'll find hemp products, accessories, and all things related to medical cannabis education.
Visit Tumbleweeds Health Center at 4826 East Broadway Boulevard or online at tumbleweedshealthcenter.com. And remember,
Be smart,
be safe,
and educate.
All right, welcome to Weedsday Wednesday, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? I got sick this last week and seriously, I'm still not feeling well. Got put on antibiotic, which I don't like, but they seem to be helping a bit. So we're just going to continue with them, but I'm thoroughly exhausted. So what I thought I'd do is play the hearing again in its entirety. So I'm going to set this up and put it in another room and let you guys listen to the entire hearing just as it is all the way through while I go back and take a nap. Shout out to Tumbleweeds Health Center in the Good Leaf at 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. Come down and get certified. Come down and get some hemp and CBD products for your loved ones or for yourself. What else? I think that's it. You can try tumbleweedshealthcenter.com or thegoodleafshop.com and get some goodies, get certified, and go from there. All right, give me a minute to cue this up, and we will get it going. And hopefully next week I'll be back in full swing. All right, hang on one second, folks. We're going to play this now. This is the Hemp Industry Trade Association lawsuit with the state of Arizona. And yep, you can thank the dispensaries for trying to bully everybody out of business. Not good. It'll come on in just a moment. They're still waiting for funding to get an appeal going. So you can go to HITA, HITA. Just look that up on Google and you'll find their site. We're still waiting for this site to start. Okay, here's what we get going here.
Anything else?
Nothing. I was just asking, I'm not sure maybe you were getting ready to tell us, but how would you like to structure the hearing?
So I'd like you to waive opens if you're willing, because we've had good briefs and I think I understand the basics. If you want to give openings, you have a right to it. But my preference is to go right to the evidence. Is that all right?
That works for the plaintiff, Judge.
Yes, that's fine for the state.
Okay. Plaintiff, call your first witness.
All right, this is 3.5 hours, so hold on tight, kids. Get your coffee and your juice ready.
I'll find out if this is the heater one.
Our first witness, I'd like to call Sully Sullivan.
Oh, this is it. This is it.
All right, if you'll come this way, up the ramp right there, follow my instructions. Up the ramp to the witness stand next to me. State and spell your name before you sit.
My name is Sully Sullivan, and I spell my name SULLY-SULLIVAN.
Thank you. Raise your right hand. The clerk will swear you in.
Yes.
All right, please be seated. Counsel, I keep all my notes and documents on the laptop. That means I'm sometimes myopic in this direction. I apologize for that.
Not on Instagram?
Sorry?
Not on Instagram?
I'm not on Instagram, but I do take notes on my computer.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Sullivan, thank you, welcome, and thank you for being here. You stated your name. What is your current role in connection with the plaintiff, the Hemp Industry Trade Association?
I'm the executive director.
Okay. And could you talk a little bit about how, and is that oftentimes abbreviated as HITA, H-I-T-A?
Yes, HITA.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about the history of HITA and how, from its origination to through today, very briefly?
Yeah, once the hemp laws were passed in Arizona, we had a hemp farm outside of Yuma, and we realized the industry was very fractured and there wasn't any kind of coordination. So we wanted to create a association to bring the industry together.
Great. Now, what was have there been a couple iterations of HITA?
Yeah, we were first HITA AZ, a nonprofit, in 2018, and then we reformed as a Hemp Industry Trade Association in 2022 as a nonprofit 501c6.
Okay. And then what happened at that point?
What do you mean?
Well, in terms of how did the activities of the organization remain the same, or were they pretty much consistent?
No, we began writing bills, legislation to try to pass regulation for hemp products, as well as lobbying to kill hemp prohibition bills.
Okay. And then how many members do you have currently at the Hemp Industry Trade Association?
We have a little over 60.
Okay. And is there a criteria for membership? How do you become a member of HITA?
Yeah, you have to follow best practices in the industry. We research the members. We often know who they are to begin with and reach out to them as well. So they're known companies within the industry.
Would they include licensed growers?
Yep, we have licensed growers, processors. So I'll stop there. Sorry.
Okay, and is your membership also engaged in the manufacturing, distribution, and retail of hemp-derived cannabinoid consumables?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to, if I could, plaintiff's exhibit here, vision number 20. We have that everything already marked electronically, I believe. That up, please.
Are you displaying from your desk?
Okay, I think it's up. Number 20 should be.
Thank you. You just have to tell my staff where the input is, and it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Conical.
Sorry, Judge. All right, number 20. That's.
Thank you.
Is this the mission statement for HITA? Is this? Well, first of all, do you recognize where this is from?
Yes, it's from our website.
Okay. And what does this page contain?
It contains our mission statement. It's really hard to see on the screen.
Very hard to see. Can you tell me then, essentially, can you summarize this? I know we can't see it very well with the small print, but can you summarize or tell me what that mission statement is?
Yeah, it's to HITA represents the hemp industry in Arizona through legislation and networking events and bringing the industry together.
Okay. And other than events and kind of bringing the industry together, what other activities do you engage in, I guess, with or on behalf of your members?
Yeah, largely legislation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what does that look like?
So for the last 4 years, we've been working on legislation to regulate the final 3 steps of the hemp supply chain. This is our 3rd year. So this was our 3rd year running the bill, and next year we'll come back again with our 4th year.
Okay. And what we're talking today specifically about a particular type of hemp, which is we call hemp cannabinoid consumable products. What percentage of your membership do you think is involved in one way or another in the cultivation, manufacture, or sale, distribution or sale of those types of products, or at least at one time were involved in that?
I'd say 75%.
Okay. And the enforcement letter that was issued by the Attorney General's office, which threatened enforcement to commence on April 24th. Did that have an impact on your organization?
Yes.
How did it impact HEDA itself, putting aside the members?
Yeah. So in April, shortly before the letter came out, we were organizing our big fundraiser for the year, which was the Sonoran Hemp Brew Festival. And we expected to have about $100,000 from that festival that we could run the organization with for the rest of the year, which we had to cancel that event due to the letter.
Okay. And has it impacted HEDA's membership?
Yes.
In what way?
So many of our members were up for renewal of their membership, but with the Attorney General's letter and the uncertainty in Arizona, all of them having to pull their product off the shelf and exit Arizona, they were hesitant and did not renew their memberships.
So, did I understand you correctly to say that your membership had to discontinue, or that they chose to discontinue many of them, or all of them, or some of them, activities that were under threat by the Attorney General's office?
All of them, yes. We advised all members to immediately cease any kind of manufacturing, distribution, or retail sale in Arizona.
And how long, given your position with HEDA and your membership, about how long were these products being sold in Arizona? Products such as, for example, CBD or Delta 8?
Sure. Yeah, CBD has been sold in Arizona for 10 years. The hemp-derived THC products, probably about 6 years.
Other than, so your members, you say, have had to discontinue business in Arizona at your organization's recommendation? And do these companies operate also outside the state of Arizona?
Many of them do.
Okay. At some point after your founding and leadership in the Hemp Industry Trade Association, were you approached and invited to become a member of the Industrial Hemp Advisory Council?
Yes.
And what is the Industrial Hemp Advisory Council?
It's a 5-person council of industry members that advise the department's designee on how to sort of fiduciary duties within with the Department of Ag's activities.
Okay. And did you become a member of that council?
Yes.
How many members are on the council?
It's a 5-person council.
Okay. Did you have meetings?
Yeah, we did have meetings, yes.
Were minutes kept of those meetings?
Yes.
Was there ever a point during those meetings where any concern was brought up about hemp cannabinoid consumable products?
No.
Okay. And then who did the council report to?
The director's designee.
And who was that?
That's Brian McGrew.
Okay. Is that who invited you to become a member of the council?
Yes.
And how did you happen to first meet Mr. McGrew?
We met at one of the committee hearings for the Industrial Hemp Committee hearing prior to the council being formed.
And had you had any contact with him connected to the hemp industry outside of committee meetings or advisory council?
No.
In other words, has he ever, have you ever spent time with them outside of meetings?
Oh, yes.
And what was that about?
We went to restaurant before, been over to his house before.
Did you ever attend any kind of events together?
Yeah, we had him speak at our HEDA events. At least one time he came out to one of our events and spoke on a panel.
Okay. At any events that you might have attended, were there featured any kinds of hemp cannabinoid consumables?
Yes.
And what, like, for example, what kind?
We had, excuse me, we had, it's kind of like a vendor setup with vendor tables in addition to a panel discussion. So vendor tables included all kinds of CBD products.
Showcasing CBD?
Yeah, companies showcasing their products. Yeah.
Okay. Were there any other types of products?
Yeah, there was industrial products like hemp seed, for example, was being sold there or promoted there.
And did Mr. McGrew ever express any concern about the presence of CBD products at that event or those events?
No.
I want to talk to you about your understanding of the rulemaking that happened during or after your time on the advisory council. The rulemaking rules. Arizona passed its hemp law. It's hemp law, I believe, in May of 2018. I want to say, or thereabouts.
It was around 2018. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was May, but 2018.
And then, at that time, was the federal hemp law. What was that? Was there a federal law in existence?
There was a 2014 farm bill.
Okay. So when were the regulations ultimately implemented and published?
I believe it was April of 2019. Or sorry, it was August.
August of 2019?
I think so.
Was there a reason for the delay?
Yeah, they were expecting the 2018 farm bill to come out.
Okay. And what did that mean to them?
Well, they started with a pilot program knowing that the 2018 farm bill was going to come out and would therefore expand, the hemp laws and expand the regulations in Arizona to be compliant with the 2018 federal farm bill.
To be in alignment with what they...
To be compliant, to be in alignment with
Objection to foundation results.
Overruled.
You could go ahead and answer that question again, please. If you want me to repeat it.
Please, yeah.
The rulemaking, the Department of Agriculture's rulemaking, your understanding was delayed so that they could wait for the 2018 farm bill to come out?
Yes.
Okay. And why do they want to wait?
Because the 2018 farm bill was potentially expanding the regulations for hemp, which it did expand. And so the pilot program here in Arizona was set to exist before the 2018 farm bill and then expire afterwards in compliance with the 2018 farm bill.
The rules meant to reflect the 2018 farm bill?
I believe so.
And what is the USDA production plan?
That's the USDA's regulations for the hemp program.
That plan something that the state, tell me about what the purpose of the plan is. How does that work?
The purpose of the plan was to have the USDA program become compliant or in alignment with the 2018 farm bill. So the previous USDA plan was attached to the 2014 farm bill. So the new plan was to sync up with the 2018 farm bill.
Arizona's plan, are you saying? was meant to stick up with.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
And what was, so that plan was also submitted after the passage of the 2018 Farm Bill?
yes,
Okay. And the Farm Bill is the Agricultural Regulation Act of 2018, more properly put. Is that correct?
correct.
So I talked a little bit about the impact on your member from the Attorney General's Office of Enforcement. I assume that meant that a number of jobs were lost. Is that correct?
Yes.
And revenue,
Mhm.
which I think would translate into tax dollars.
Mhm.
Were distribution chains disrupted?
Absolutely.
Are distribution chains easy to put together?
No, they take time for sure.
And so those were lost.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have knowledge of the essentially the economics or fiscal, I guess the word I'm looking for? Do you have an understanding of the contribution that the hemp industry has made to the state of Arizona in terms of jobs and revenue?
Yes.
And what is that understanding beyond your involvement as the executive director of the Hemp Industry Trade Association? What is that understanding based on?
There's a Whitney economics report that reported on Arizona's hemp-derived consumable products.
That report was specific to hemp-derived consumable products?
Correct.
Okay. Who is Whitney Economics?
Whitney Economics is a economics firm, the most prominent economics firm in the cannabis and hemp space. They do economic reports around the country for different states, as well as a national economic report.
And again, this report was confined to hemp cannabinoid consumables?
Correct.
Did it make any findings regarding how many jobs were generated from that activity?
Objection to the foundation, Your Honor. Mr. Loper will going to be testifying in the hearing.
I don't need to hear arguments on every objection. Just make the objection and I'll rule. It's overruled. Go ahead.
Can you ask that again, please?
Did the Whitney economic report make any findings regarding the number of jobs attributed to the hemp cannabinoid consumable market in Arizona?
Yes.
Do you recall what that is?
It's just over 8,000.
Okay. And in terms of revenue, did he talk about what revenue was generated? Or did he talk about wages? Did he make any findings about the amount of wages that were generated?
Yeah, 300 million in wages.
And what about the overall market for hemp-derived cannabinoids? Was there an estimate of that?
I think it was 699 million.
During your activities as both the executive director of HEDA and as a member of the Hemp Advisory Council, did you take members of the Department of Agriculture on any kinds of tours or activities off-site?
Yes, yeah, we took the Department of Ag to see our hemp farm outside of Yuma. It was actually the first time the Department of Ag had ever seen hemp.
And your hemp farm, what are you referring to?
In 2019, we had a company called Arizona Hemp Supply Company, where we grew hemp and then processed it into CBD oil.
I'm unclear on who the we is here.
Myself and my business partners.
Thank you.
That was a company that you had founded?
Yes.
And what was your position in that company?
A founder and CEO.
Okay. And so members of the Department of Agriculture went on a tour of that facility?
Yep, we took on a tour of our farm, showed them hemp for the first time, and then we also took them to one of our members' processing facilities outside of Camp Verde.
Okay. What kind of processing was that company doing?
They were taking raw hemp and processing it into CBD oil.
Okay. Did any of those members of representatives from the Department of Agriculture express any concerns or about the fact that CBD was being produced?
No.
And is CBD a hemp-derived cannabinoid consumable product?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, John. Sorry, let me confer with,
Go ahead.
retract that for one moment, Judge. That
Of
might-
course.
Oh, Judge, I would like to move plaintiff's exhibit, I believe it's 8, plaintiff's exhibit 8 into evidence. This is the statement which can now be read a little bit more clearly, that contains what Mr. Sullivan testified to be the mission statement or purpose of the organization.
This is actually plaintiff's 20 in our system. Is there an objection to it?
No, Judge.
Thank you. Plaintiff's 20 is admitted.
And with that, Judge, no further questions.
All right. Thank you. Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sullivan.
Good afternoon.
You've described HEDA's mission as protecting the quote legal hemp industry, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now you understand that there's no dispute that hemp can be legally processed into products like rope and cloth and paper in Arizona, correct?
Correct.
Does HEDA represent any rope or paper processors, anything like that?
Yes.
Which of HEDA's members would fall into that category?
One of our members, Soil, Seed and Water, is a grower of hemp fiber outside of Emo.
It's fair to say that HEDA's members are primarily comprised of companies that sell or perhaps aspire to sell intoxicating THC products made from hemp, correct?
And ancillary companies like banks, banking, merchant processing, other ancillary businesses to that.
How do his members break down between companies involved in CBD production and those involved with intoxicating THC products?
Between CBD and hemp THC products?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
And you do understand that CBD isn't an issue in this hearing, correct?
Well, CBD full spectrum products do contain levels of THC, which would be against the Attorney General's letter.
CBD is generally understood to be non-intoxicating, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you understand that the Attorney General's enforcement is focused on intoxicating
Judge,
THC
objection.
products.
Hold on, let him finish his question first.
You understand that the Attorney General's enforcement is focused on intoxicating THC products.
Let's hear let me let your lawyer object.
Judge, I think that the witness should know what the Attorney General's office considers to be intoxicating, because it's a very vague term.
Overruled. If you can answer the question, answer it.
Yeah, can you ask that one more time, please?
You understand that the Attorney General's enforcement is focused on intoxicating THC products, correct?
I'm aware that she's focusing on hemp THC products. The problem with that is that CBD products do contain levels of THC, which could give a psychoactive effect if eaten or consumed enough of.
Mr. Sullivan, you understand that the Attorney General issued her opinion on hemp-derived THC products in March 2024, correct?
Correct.
And that opinion concluded that hemp-derived THC products are illegal outside of dispensaries, correct?
Yes.
What did HEDA do, if anything, after the Attorney General issued that opinion?
I don't recall.
Did HEDA commence any legal action disagreeing with that opinion?
No,
Did HEDA's members continue to sell intoxicating THC products in Arizona?
THC products, yes.
And in fact, the industry really took off and expanded since March 24, didn't it?
Yes.
Now, to your understanding, did the Attorney General immediately start enforcing the illegality of these products after issuing the opinion in March 2024?
No.
Okay. There was about a year's gap until March 2025 when the Attorney General sent an enforcement letter to retailers selling these products, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that letter provided for a 1 month grace period before there would be enforcement, right?
Correct.
What did HEDA do after receiving that enforcement letter?
We advise all members to cease selling any products that contain hemp THC.
Did HEDA take any immediate legal action after receiving that letter?
We began talking to our law firm about strategies on how to bring a court case, who to bring a court case, and how to do it.
Okay, well, I don't want you getting into legal advice, but suffice it to say that after receiving the March 24 letter, HEDA didn't take any legal action until April 21, right?
It took us time because we weren't sure how we were going to be able to do it because we didn't have, frankly, the money to do it.
Okay, and you understand that this hearing that we're here for today was originally scheduled for May 9th. You may not recall it, but you recall that it was originally scheduled for an earlier date, right?
After the 24th of April, you mean?
After HEDA filed its complaint, there was there was one hearing on a temporary restraining order, and then the court set another hearing on a preliminary injunction.
Yes.
And you recall that hearing was set, and then HEDA took other legal action, and that caused the delay until today, correct?
What do you mean other legal action?
Well, HEDA filed a petition for special action in the Court of Appeals, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. You've referenced Mr. Whitney's report, and HEDA cites data from that report in its briefing, right?
Yes.
And HEDA cites that data as if it's present data from right now, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But in fact, Mr. Whitney's report speaks in terms of a total potential market, correct? Okay. That up.
Is this one of our exhibits that you're showing?
Yes. Yeah. Later, if we don't have it now, it's exhibit P2. Mr. Sullivan, you understand that HEDA's members don't have the right to sell illegal products, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so if Arizona law provides that hemp-derived THC products can't be sold outside of dispensaries, And if a court agrees with that view of the law, you understand that your members have no right or interest in continuing to make money from the sale of illegal products, right?
Well, the 2018 Farm Bill allows the sale of these products. And Arizona's hemp laws say that if the federal laws are more expansive, that Arizona.
That's legal, Mr. Sullivan. That's legal. I'm not asking for your. I understand that you disagree about the law, but I'm simply asking that if a court disagrees with your view of the law and agrees with the Attorney General that these products are illegal, then your members have no right to break the law and continue to sell those products in Arizona, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Thank you.
Wait, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. I want to understand the scope of the products that that you believe are at issues. So let me start off by talking about the term hemp-derived cannabinoid consumables. That's a term that your lawyers have used. What is that term? What does it encompass?
It encompasses any products that are consumable that are derived from hemp.
So that would include hemp seed oil, which has got no THC in it, or does hemp seed oil have THC in it?
No, it does not have THC in it.
Would that include hemp seed oil under this category?
These are referring to consumable products like edibles, vapes, drinks, things like that.
And when you say edibles, what do you mean?
Like gummies, for example.
Okay. So when you use the term hemp-derived cannabinoid consumables, you're talking about edibles, vapes, drinks, gummies, things with THC derived from hemp. Yes.
Correct, and CBD too.
You also include in this term CBD?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. You're going to get redirect. I'm just asking my questions so that you can follow up on mine.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Sure. No, you get the last word. Absolutely. Is there a minimum age in Arizona to buy hemp or hemp-derived cannabinoid consumables?
There's not regulation right now.
Okay. Does your organization give advice to its members about whether they should card people who want to buy these things?
Absolutely.
If there's no regulation, why do you do that?
Because we want best practices to be followed.
Fair enough.
For
Thank
21
you.
plus now.
Thank you. Yes, redirect, please.
Now, I want to come back to a point that you were making during cross-examination. Is it correct that most every CBD product on the market contains THC? Is that what you said?
Most of them do their full spectrum.
Okay.
Full spectrum CBD products do.
And are there typically trace amounts of other cannabinoids in CBD products?
Mhm.
Would those include THC cannabinoids,
Mhm.
such as Delta-9?
Correct.
Okay. But these are the products, is your understanding, these are the products that the Attorney General's office is saying are illegal.
Correct.
And yet they're saying CBD is legal, but yet the CBD contains the illegal products. So how would you be able to sell CBD if it contains these, what they're referring to as intoxicating cannabinoids?
It is possible to make an isolated product that you take all the THC out.
And how feasible is it to make that product?
It's feasible.
In terms of expense, equipment?
You need special equipment to do it. Yeah.
Is that a common product on the market?
Oh yeah, there's broad spectrum products, which means
Not broad spectrum. I'm talking about, you're saying CBD isolate, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I take to understand to be products containing only CBD with no other cannabinoid.
Correct.
And are those products prevalent?
They are. The full spectrum products are more popular because they have the entourage effect and have the full medicinal benefits of CBD and hemp.
So the Attorney General the Assistant Attorney General was making a point about, I think, trying to make a point about your timing, his timing of its lawsuit. So I heard you testifying on direct that your Sonoran, what was the event that had to be canceled?
Sonoran Hemp Brew Fest.
Is that a primary fundraiser for HEDA?
Yeah, that was our main fundraiser for the year.
Had you collected already money funds for tickets?
We were just about to. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we did. Sorry. Yes, we did.
What did you do with that? The money from the proceeds from the sale of those tickets?
We had to refund it.
Okay. So when the enforcement letter came out, you said that you began to engage in conversation with your law firm, which I believe you're referring to as Spectrum Law Collective.
Correct.
And was there any obstacle in immediately commencing a lawsuit shortly after, the day after, or the week after the enforcement letter was issued?
Yeah, we weren't sure what to do next. We weren't sure if we were going to bring a lawsuit or if someone else was. And for us, we didn't have the money to do it. So we had to figure out, could we do it at all? So we weren't sure how to go about it.
And how did you go about raising?
No.
Well, how did you then come up with the money?
We began trying to get industry folks to put in extra money to help fund for the lawsuit.
Did that take time?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to ask you, how long have these, I think you had, I don't know if I asked you actually on direct, but how long, I want to talk to you about timing. How long have these products been available? These, I'm going to ask you about other than CBD. So cannabinoid products like Delta 8 THC or Delta 9 THC, but what other types of cannabinoids that the Attorney General's office would like to call intoxicating. How long have those been on the market in Arizona?
About 6 years.
Okay. And it was only just over a year ago that the Attorney General's office issued an advisory opinion?
Correct.
Did you take that to be any credible threat of enforcement?
It didn't have any kind of an enforcement indication on it. And, you know, the 2018 Farm Bill disagreed with our,
Okay. And then it took a whole year after that for the Attorney General's office to get around to issuing its enforcement letters. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And at that point, you did feel that there was a credible threat of enforcement. And is that when you advised your members to cease operations?
Absolutely.
And then began to fundraise so that you could afford legal representation?
Yes.
The judge asked you, or first let me stick with the Attorney General's question on that. You said that you agreed that although you disagree with the Attorney General's office argument or position, that if this or agreed that their position was correct, that is that these hemp-derived cannabinoid consumable products were unlawful, that it would be illegal to sell those products. I think you agreed that that was the case.
Yes.
But are you familiar with the appellate process?
No.
Like the judges of court's decision could be appealed, right? To the Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Okay. So that restriction would only exist until an appellate court overruled it.
Objection, Foundation.
I'm not sure he knows enough about the process. I'm happy to hear argument from you.
Okay, Judge. And the judge asked you a question about HEDA's position in terms of age restrictions. Is that something that HEDA has lobbied for at the legislature?
Yeah, for the last 3 years, we have ran a regulation bill requiring 21 plus age gating, labeling requirements, testing requirements, protection of minors, and things like that.
And you're utilizing paid lobbyists for that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Sir, you may have a seat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next witness, please.
Judge Frazee. Okay, Judge, Our next witness is appearing virtually, and that would be Christopher Ware.
Mr. Ware, are you with us online? I know he was in before, but I don't know if he's got now. Is he still here? There he is. Will you unmute yourself so we can make sure we can hear you?
Hi, I'm getting there. Thank you, Judge. I appreciate your honor.
Okay, I can hear you. You can hear me.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can see you on the big screen. So we'll have you state and spell your name, then we'll have you sworn in.
Christopher Ware, ChristopherPher, capital WARE.
Thank you. Raise your right hand. You'll hear the clerk. She'll swear you in.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Counsel, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Ware, thank you for being here, appearing virtually today. Would you mind telling us what your current occupation is?
Certainly. Thanks for having me, you guys. I'm the founder of KCA Laboratories. We're an independent third-party research and testing facility optimized in the cannabis space. We was founded in 2018, and we brought forth a different kind of analytics, the scrutiny of testing that myself and the chemists that I hired, we come from ancillary industries, horse racing, natural products, pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, pharmacokinetics, and research, and rolled that into the hemp industry, and really have accelerated much of what was been talked about today, which is the ability for processors, farmers, consumers to really be educated and know what's in their products.
Okay.
And yeah, go ahead.
You have an educational background in forensics or some related allied field?
Yes, chemical forensics, natural sciences, which was all three disciplines of physics, biology, and chemistry out of Xavier, and I did some my graduate work at UAB in Alabama.
Okay. And what would you consider to be your areas of specialization?
Forensic chemistry, analytical chemistry, chemical detection, testing, and then threshold, threshold allowances on analytes, mostly contaminant analytes, pesticides, heavy metals, solvents, microbial work, and then chemical profiling like cannabinoid profiling.
Okay. Your company, KCA Labs, how long has it been in existence?
Since early 2019.
Okay. And again, its, I guess, primary focus is in doing what exactly?
Solely a cannabis testing lab. That's how it was designed. That's how we optimized all of our procedures. And since starting KCA, our footprint occupies clientele across all of the U.S. and in all 50 states and 23 countries.
Okay. Do you hold, does the company hold certificates and licenses that allow them to do this testing?
Way too many. Yeah, so DEA, USDA, Kentucky, various Department of Agricultures. We've had state contracts with Massachusetts, Department of Ag of Massachusetts, South Dakota, Tennessee, Illinois, Louisiana, as well as internationally with Anvisa in Brazil, which is the kind of like the Brazilian FDA. And in Japan with their yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we got the picture. Do you also assist your clients with regulatory compliance?
Every day.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018?
Yes, I am.
And associated regulations?
Correct.
Is there at any point is is hemp required by law to be tested?
Federally, no. Well, federally, yes, on the level of Delta 9 THC.
And when is that test required?
It is required at the from the USDA standpoint and the Agriculture Improvement Act, the Farm Bill is required post-harvest and pre-harvest, both times.
Okay, so while the hemp is growing or close to when it's harvested, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Is there any requirement by law that it be tested? I'm sorry, let me back up. What specifically is it being tested for by law?
Just Delta 9 THC.
Okay, and what is,
yes,
right, and what is the restriction regarding Delta 9 THC?
0.03%.
Okay, and is there any what was that?
On a dry weight basis.
And
in plant material.
Okay, is there any requirement by law that it be tested at any future point after that initial test?
Moving down to after we pass the federal level, no.
Okay.
Moving into the state, yeah, statutorily, there's states that have built very robust regulations on monitoring products and downstream products.
Okay. And what is a certificate of analysis?
Acronym would be the COA, and that's essentially what KCA provides. It's a certificate of analysis. It's a document that provides the test results for the testing that has been requested by the client or the jurisdiction. It can be as yeah, it can, yeah, go ahead.
Sticking with and you're talking about under federal law, the one required test that's near to harvest of the plant material is a COA generated as a result of that testing?
That's correct.
And okay, so that would be something that the grower would receive as proof that the plants were compliant with that 0.3% on a dry weight basis restriction.
That's correct.
Okay. How many clients does KCA have?
Tens of thousands of clients.
Okay. Any idea how many tests you process, I don't know, in an average day?
5,000 probably a day, give or take.
Okay. And
the lab operates 7 days 7 days a week, 365 a year.
Okay. And how does that Delta 9 THC testing, how does that work? What's the testing process?
It's done through a separate assay. It depends on what the client orders for testing. If it depends if they're getting additional contaminant testing. Assays will go through an instrument called a high performance liquid chromatography. The acronym for that is HPLC. And that testing methodology is known, it's a validated method to preserve both neutral and acidic cannabinoids. Finished goods may go through a different testing process. Depends on the analytes that are indicated that are in the sample, if they're even known. There's different methodologies: liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, and there's also GCMS approaches. However, most of those methods don't preserve acidic molecules and misrepresent what the composition of the sample is.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I might have missed it. What is your position at KCA Labs?
I'm the founder of the lab and conduct. Are we back? I think
We're still here.
Okay, sorry, Your Honor. I'm the founder of KCA.
Okay, and do you, as part of your job, your activities, do you try to stay abreast of the latest research regarding cannabinoid products?
We have a research division at KCA, albeit from the business aspect, it's not the funnest side. It's always it's a red number when I look at it on the balance sheet. But we work with public and private ventures to conduct different pharmacokinetic studies, various methodologies and testing on enhancing testing in this genre, and research is a big component of KCA.
And are you aware of any research that indicates that hemp-derived cannabinoid products are inherently dangerous?
I'm not.
Okay. How many cannabinoids are in the cannabis sativa L plant?
120 plus. And that's one of the challenges that we've taken on at the lab. We're able to detect over 80, upward of 80, almost 90 different cannabinoids. And I believe we are one of the only labs with that ability in the country, if not the world. And that was brought on by, again, part of our research arm is identifying the quote unknowns. And we understand that there's the ability of providing that data back to our clients, back to regulators, back to everyone to understand that we can build the full composition of material.
Okay.
Is a challenge that we do every day.
Okay, let me ask you, are you familiar with when, for example, Delta 9 was first identified as a cannabinoid?
Delta 9. Yeah, Delta 9 was back in the early 20s.
Mm-hmm. What about Delta 8 THC?
Delta 8 was shortly thereafter, and then it was purified or in the 60s by an Israeli research lab led by Raphael Michelin, and then they pursued pharmaceutical applications with Delta 8.
So would it be fair to say that the knowledge of THC cannabinoids has been in existence for decades?
It has.
Okay. Would you consider cannabinoids to be an essential component of the cannabis sativa plant?
Yes.
Can you talk about different types of hemp-derived cannabinoid consumable products?
Certainly, the previous witness gave an overview. There's inhalables, there's ingestibles, there's sublinguals, there's topicals, and then there's subsets of all of those, whether they're an ingestible as a beverage or a gummy, or in the form of a brownie or a cookie. In inhalables, we see vaporized products, we see vaporized oils, we see raw flower material, and then topicals, there's sublingual tinctures, there's lotions, there are suppository applications.
Thank you. would you agree with the statement that all cannabinoids are psychoactive?
They have psychoactivity, yes. I would not agree that they are all intoxicating.
Okay. But CBD, for example, you would consider to be psychoactive? In the sense,
They occupy receptors that are known to produce psychoactivity, but again, there's a challenge. Yeah.
what kind of psychoactivity?
Mild euphoria, maybe, for example, in the case of CBD, relaxation. Again, this industry is not allowed to make any medical claims or health claims or benefit claims. But again, there's certain interactions based off and that's a consumer by consumer effect.
Are all cannabinoids, let me ask another related question. Are all cannabinoids equally psychoactive?
No.
Okay. For example, are Delta 9 THC and Delta 8 THC, are they equally psychoactive?
No, they're not.
And in what way are they not?
There's purportedly Delta 8 is has a third less efficacy than Delta 9.
So would that be in layman's?
Sorry, do you mean a third of the efficacy or a third less?
A third less. Delta 8 is a third less stronger than Delta 9, as in.
So if Delta 8 is 66% effective, Delta 9 is 100% effective?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Just wanted to understand the numbers you were using. Sorry, counsel.
Okay, thank you, Judge. And I want to just end with asking you to discuss the different types of manufacturing. So do some of these are some of these products directly extracted from the cannabis sativa plant?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And are others? Can you give me an example of a product that would be directly extracted?
Any of the molecules can be directly extracted.
In the form of a product, like, for example, I don't know, THC beverages. Do they contain converted cannabinoids, or are they directly extracted cannabinoids? Or I don't know.
Both. It would be both. So, but the availability for manufacturers or brands to obtain Delta 9 that's been derived through column chromatography is and that Delta 9, and Your Honor, that's for in layman terms, purified product that's been put through a filter, and they cut they cut at certain points to obtain purified material. There's also bioconverted material that's derived from CBD.
Let's talk about that real quick. What do you mean by bioconverted? Tell me what kind of there's a difference between a synthetic cannabinoid and a bioconverted cannabinoid. Synthetic cannabinoid is something that has been created from building blocks that were not derived from, not part of a cannabis plant, a hemp plant. Bioconverted would be molecules that have been further assisted in the degradation process of cannabinoids to obtain a desired molecule: CBN, CBC, Delta 9, Delta 8, and they're done and they can make those with very high efficiency and purity
to limit any contaminants.
Okay, so just so I understand, you're saying that those products you mentioned, which would include Delta 9 or Delta 8, they are basically, there's a process of conversion that starts with a naturally occurring part of the plant. I think you mentioned CBD. Is CBD a naturally occurring part of the plant?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and there's a process that can take CBD and convert it into a different naturally occurring cannabinoid like Delta 9 or Delta 8. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah, it's I call it bioassisted. All the cannabinoids want to cascade and degrade from the mother molecule, which is CBG, to the graveyard molecule, which is CBN. And in between those two molecules, you have 120 plus different cannabinoids that will form, evolve, proliferate, degrade, repeat until you get to CBN.
So I asked you earlier, are all cannabinoids equally psychoactive? You said no, I believe, correct?
That's correct.
And is there a wide variance in cannabinoids in terms of what their level of psychoactivity is?
Mildly. CBD certainly occupies a receptor site that has psychoactive tendencies. Does it create any kind of, again, euphoria? It's a user experience. So I would say there is a wide variety. Yes, I would. CBG does the same. And things like CBC and CBT, CBE, these are all different cannabinoids is what I'm speaking about. Also, and then on the other side, you have Delta 9 and Delta 10 and Delta 8 that have that inhibit that receptor site way more effectively in our body and create a bigger effect.
And then are there other cannabinoids that are kind of in between?
They are.
Okay. Is there a scientific test, to your knowledge, that can determine whether or not a given cannabinoid is, quote unquote,
No.
Okay. Would one ever when cannabinoid process become?
You have to do toxins. You can do an in vitro tox study, but
to your knowledge, has there ever been such a study, toxicology study that has explored the intoxicating effects of various cannabinoids?
Yes, there have.
Okay, and how have the have there been toxicology studies that have, for example, compared CBD to Delta 8?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. All right. But there's no scientific test. It would just be, you're saying that the research would just have to be a toxicology study, and that toxicology study would be based on what? Surveys or what?
They'd be done in a controlled environment with a lot of people use mouse or rat models that have prescribed dosages, and then the rats are terminated, and they biopsy their liver and their kidney and their brain and determine if there's any. Obviously, there's a monitoring, a physical monitoring. They're seeing if there's a visual effect, if they noticeably can tell a difference in their behavior. So they're doing behavioral analysis, but there's also They also do anatomical analysis to see if there's any reaction intramuscularly or within the system, the mammalia system. And these are most of these models start out as rat and mice models before they get installed into a human model.
And so when we're talking about cannabinoids, so does intoxication happen upon the consumption, whether by ingestion or inhalation, immediately, or does a certain amount of that product have to be consumed before it becomes intoxicating?
There's definitely a threshold limitation of when intoxication occurs.
So, like, for example, Delta 8 would not be necessarily intoxicating, depending on how much one consumed.
Depending on the dose.
Okay. And the same could be said about any cannabinoid. It's dose dependent.
Correct.
All right. And do you have any opinion about whether the studies on toxicology were accurate or biased? The ones that you reference have been done?
I would say, I mean, it's wherever the funding comes from, right? So, and whoever, it's unfortunate, but these tox studies are not cheap, and however they're paid for there could be a motive for or against.
Is it fair to say then that these existing toxicology studies are to some degree inconsistent with one another?
Potentially, yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examination, and we'll break for 15 minutes at 3 o'clock.
Sure, and I'll be quick, Judge. Good afternoon, Mr. Ware. Nick Clearman, nice to meet you.
I know, thank you.
Yes, I think you just testified, if correctly, right, that whoever basically funds a study that influences the outcome creates biases. Is that correct?
But I mean, potentially, most of the private funded stuff is coming from intra-industry people. They don't control the study, though. They're done through an independent party. Much as like myself, I'm an independent testing lab. As much as I rely on the industry to help the business, we still, the results are what the results are.
So your business is entirely funded from the marijuana and hemp industry, correct?
No, we have a food program. We do food safety testing as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said that your entire business earlier was dedicated to marijuana and cannabis testing.
We do pesticide testing for local farmers.
So you're not entirely related to marijuana testing then, is that correct?
If we let's just say these are hemp farmers that also grow corn and wheat.
You testified, so do you test hemp products in Arizona?
We do. I would assume so. We've got a client base that covers all 50 states. So I can assume, and I can't disclose my clients, but I assume that captures some of the Arizona market.
You don't know what percentage of the Arizona market you test for?
No, and that's hard to say, Nick. We test a lot of the raw material going into products that are probably sold in Arizona and where that raw material comes from. And we also test a lot of the finished goods. We work the entire supply chain. So it's a challenge to understand what percentage of the Arizona market that would represent.
So fair to say you can't testify to what percentage of the Arizona market you test? I think the answer is no, right? You don't know.
I can't testify to that either if I knew the answer or not, because I can't disclose that, our client information.
So you don't know the safety and efficacy of all the products that are sold in Arizona, is that correct?
I have a good idea. I know a lot of the brands, but I would have to be able to provide that on a supplement, discovery document.
That's fine. Quick question about hemp versus marijuana. Hemp is just a legal definition of a marijuana plant, correct?
No, hemp and marijuana are a legal definition of a cannabis plant.
That's a better way to say it. Thank you. THC that's derived from a hemp plant is no different from THC from a marijuana plant?
Correct.
I have no additional questions.
Sir, I have a few, and I want to ask you about some terminology, and I'll start with hemp. And here's my understanding. You tell me if it's wrong. The plant is Cannabis sativa. If it's got low THC, you call it hemp. If it's got regular or high THC, you call it marijuana. The statute has a specific number for that, but in more general terms, people use hemp to refer to low THC, sativa, and marijuana to refer to others. Is that fair?
That's correct. At above 0.3%.
You're listening.
And that's the legal definition.
Weedsday Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay. It's sort of like cherry tomatoes and Roma tomatoes. It's the same plant, but they have slightly different properties.
Your Honor, that's exactly right. It's a citrus tree, right? Is it an orange or a lemon or a grapefruit?
A better example for Arizona. Thank you. You distinguish intoxicating and psychoactivity, and there's been a little bit of sparring about that in this case. Just tell me what you understand the differences between those two terms to be.
Psychoactivity is an inhibition of a psycho receptor in our bodies that is known to be have psychoactive, be psychoactive. Intoxicating is the effect of that inhibition of that receptor, which requires toxicology studies.
Okay, thank you. You also use the term cannabis space. That's a term I've heard a lot, and I've never been quite sure what the outlines of cannabis space are. Will you just tell me what that means in your understanding?
Yeah, I mean, Your Honor, for us as in the cannabis space, as a testing lab, I don't know if what I'm receiving is hemp or marijuana until after I test it. In the unique, we occupy a unique niche in this industry, and again, I look at these like I'm a cannabinoids lab. Whether it's hemp derived or marijuana derived, we don't know that determination until after products have been received and gone through our testing processes and a report is generated. The plant is the same. It's a cannabis plant. If it has unfortunate levels that are higher than what a hemp farmer would was represented that they were growing, that it turns it from hemp to marijuana.
If somebody's selling hemp t-shirts or hemp seed oil, is that still considered part of the cannabis space? Is that all under that broad umbrella?
It certainly is. Those are cannabis plants that those are derived from, whether it's a fiber plant, a seed plant, or a cannabinoid plant.
Okay, thank you. I want to go to the 0.3% by dry weight. I think I understand. Well, by the way, when you extract THC, is it a liquid, a solid, or a gas?
It goes from a state of crude, which is the first extraction step, and that is we'll call it in a vitreous stage, to a distillate, which is a watered down vitreous stage, but very challenging. It's not liquid per se. It's definitely not a solid though. And then various cannabinoids can be isolated out of that which are then purified into a solid state as an isolate, which would, Your Honor, represent something that looks like like sugar or flour in a granular state.
Okay, so that's a lead into my question, which is how we determine dry weight. We've talked about different products, right? So how do you measure dry weight in a gummy as compared to a vape, which is vape's gas? I guess the vape is liquid and it turns into gas or vapor, to a gummy, to a drink. How do you compare the weight of something dry to the weight of something wet?
We do moisture analysis on those products as well, and that's negligible. Only the plant is retaining moisture as water per se.
Yeah, let me ask my question a different way. I think I didn't get to it. So can you put, if you're trying to comply with the 0.3% dry weight requirement, can you put more THC in a drink because it's heavier, because it's got a lot of water in it, than you can in a gummy, which is a small thing that's lighter and is I don't know what you call gummy. Is it a liquid or a solid?
It's a solid.
Okay.
It's a gelatin.
Like a gelatin, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great question, Your Honor. The way that we have to approach testing finished goods, as our lab, we're an ISO accredited and DEA accredited lab. We're not able to manipulate samples to misrepresent the composition that the consumer would be receiving. So if we take a beverage, for example, and evaporate all the water out of it and then test it, that's not an accurate test for the product that is being represented by the report that we provide. It's the same reason, it's the same thing as like you get so many milligrams of vitamin C in a glass of orange juice. That would be different if they took all the water out of that glass of orange juice and then tested what the amount of vitamin C would be left in. And so the dry weight basis, and this is coming off of the Farm Bill, the direction from the USDA, which we're licensed with them, as well as the Farm Bill and the various other states, unlike yourself, that have that regulatory framework that require the dry weight basis on plant material, and then the THC content be measured on finished consumer goods as received.
Let me ask my question differently, because I'm not sure I understood. The requirement for the end product is that it's 0.0 or 0.3% by dry weight. So let's say I've got a can of soda that's got THC in it, and I don't know how heavy 12 ounces is, but seems to me it feels like it's about a half pound, maybe a third of a pound when you pick it up. So let's say it's a half pound. Let's say it's eight ounces in weight, even though it's 12 ounces, 12 fluid ounces. And let's say I've got a gummy that's an ounce. Yeah. So does that mean that 8 gummies has the same amount of THC, can have the same amount of THC as that one can of soda, or is that comparing apples to oranges?
Apples to oranges. The ability for it's certainly an interesting concept, Your Honor.
But my fundamental question is, how do you measure dry weight for things that aren't dry?
The analysis on those, we can't misrepresent what the consumer is going to get. If we pull moisture analysis, we're going to have a much higher dose. It's going to yield a much higher THC number analytically than what's actually in the can or the gummy.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you bearing with me on those questions.
Because if we remove the dry weight from there, then we're now calculating the concentration of the same amount of THC, but at a much lower weight.
Thank you.
And that would yield a much higher number that was inaccurate. Sorry.
No, I keep saying thank you, and you've got more to say. It's fine. All right. If your answer's finished, I'll go back to Mr. Dean. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. So by moisture analysis, is that the same thing as dehydrating the product, for example, the drink?
That's correct.
Okay. And so what you're saying is when all the moisture is removed, then you measure the weight of the THC relative to the weight of the other, I guess, dry constituents of a beverage. In this case, we're talking about a beverage. Is that correct?
That would be correct. And again, we're not actually, we can't do that practice.
Okay, I understand.
We're not allowed to do that by our accreditations for.
I understand, but that's how the analysis is conducted to determine dry weight basis, through dehydration.
That's how it would be done, and it would have to be dried down with an inert gas.
One other question related to that is, I think if I understood you correctly, that on a dry weight basis, the Delta 9 that you're testing for, the Delta 9 THC, would have a much greater percentage relative to the other dry dehydrated materials than it would once it's in the drink form.
In a finished good, yes, they would misrepresent the calculation that would come out from my lab on the COA would have elevated numbers of THC that wouldn't actually be, because the moisture calculation, whatever that is, whether it's 15% or 90%, accelerates the THC content by that factor.
Understood. Okay, so whatever the Delta 9 THC level is in its dehydrated form, if I understand you correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, that Delta 9 THC level would actually be less in the actual beverage form.
100% of the time.
Okay. Do you, and does your company, KCA Labs, test, when you're testing hemp, do you only test for Delta 9 percentage?
No, we test, again, for over 80 plus cannabinoids.
Okay, but do you test for anything other than just the presence of cannabinoids?
No, we do pesticide testing, microbials, mycotoxins, residual solvents, heavy metals, pesticides. We do foreign material inspection.
Okay. All right. Can you clarify, one last question, can you clarify the difference between marijuana and hemp under the law?
Clarify the difference of marijuana.
What would be the difference between what we're calling marijuana, which would be also part of the cannabis sativa plant, but then we're also talking about hemp, which is part of the cannabis sativa plant. What determines the difference?
The level of Delta 9 THC.
Okay. Is there any other metric or variable that you're aware of other than the Delta 9 percentage, which I think you testified had to be 0.3% or less? Is there any other metric or variable that can be scientifically tested for that distinguishes hemp from marijuana?
Not that I'm aware of. I know that there's research being done on some different kind of genetic approaches, but nothing that is not to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ware. I appreciate it. Another question, Judge.
All right, well, you're free to go or stay on the call if you wish. We're going to take a break now. Let's recess for 10 minutes. We'll see you at 3:11.
Thank you, Judge Warner. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, they're gonna take a break. Let's talk about it, right? What do you guys think right now? How do you feel about how it's going? There's a few things that I wrote down where it's like, oh, you know, it's interesting to hear when the judge comes in and talks about it. At first, I was like, oh man, they're only mentioning edibles. They said gummies, drinks. They didn't mention flour until later on when raw flour is brought up by the lab testing agency. Now all consumables are in discussion. It seems like my mouth is my mouth is burning like a motherfucker. I got these tacos hot. Woo! We'll take a positive cause on that. Damn, no, he's burning. Okay. When the judge comes in, I wish in a sense, I wish I understood what they're trying to prove in a sense. Where's their stance on it, right? Because federally, they're able to do this. I think they're presenting the case, like this is this, that, and the other. And then the judge comes in and says, well, what's the difference? Like, and I'm wondering, is it good or is it bad that the judge understands that ultimately it's the same plant and by Arizona law, but then he comes back and says, look, does federal law trump state law when, certain situations? Whew. And said the fuck. Shout out to Smoke Dog for rolling that blunt for me. It was gonna be a long hearing. We're halfway. I don't know what I was expecting. A little of me is concerned with Ida, Tom Dean, taking up a lot of time. But I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, this is just me off the top. Bear family says the judge is trying to legitimately understand the differences. I do like the judge's energy. I will say that. I'll give some cheers to that. I do definitely agree that the judge's energy is coming across, like taking it seriously. Like, yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you there. It's interesting that the state of Arizona brought up how they were going to have this earlier, May 9th, and then they went a different direction. I wasn't quite sure why that was brought up because they didn't have any follow-up with it, right? They were just like, we could have did this on May 9th, and you guys decided to different action or something like that. Like, well, okay, right, yes, but okay. What were you? The way he was expecting that? I was laughing. What are you doing? What do you mean? When Sully Sullivan was up there and they asked him, hey, if the judge comes back and says they disagree with your opinion, do you agree that it's illegal to sell cannabis products or cannabinoid products? And Sully Sullivan would not answer the questions that he don't know. He don't know. I pleaded. Thought that was interesting because it's like, look, man, you already know the answer. I was wondering why he didn't say yes, because Obviously, you know what I mean? Or we'd be selling the shit right now. What do you mean? Yes, motherfucker. That's why we're here. Hi. Hello. I don't know. That's how I took that. Oh, right there. This the supremacy clause found in Article 6, Clause 2 says if the state law contradicts federal law wins. Okay, look at this. Chomp. Thank you, Chomp. Okay, so they have said, now this is the thing, if they lose here, then they are going to appeals. Count on me if you want. I don't give a fuck. Count it. We could do a game. We shall see. Everybody is saying we shall see right now. This is wild. What if the judge comes back and says it's federally legal? I mean, I don't. Woo. I don't want to miss my chance over here. Let me make sure. Should I stay on this? They said 10 minutes. I don't want to press them or anything. You know, how long has it been since they dipped out? Tacos. I'm not going to eat in front of you guys. That's why I'll blank out the camera. I was raised never to eat in front of people, right? That's fucked up. I'll smoke in front of people, though. Hello. All right, so what's the percentage at? What do we put the percentage at that the judge is going to side with META and allow for consumable hemp-derived products to go back on the shelves? Huh? I should probably make some fucking, some kind of like sign saying like, you know, denied or holy shit. Oh my God. Womp, womp, womp. Is it going to be? Or is it going to be? Or is it going to be? Which one do you think it's going to be? Oh, exactly. Bear family. That's a good point. A lot of states looking at this. And that's why I don't think we have a good chance. I'm going to be 6,000 with you. I'm going to put it like 5. I think we got like a 5% chance right now. Damn. Bro. He's at 5. That fucking sucks. I just think that like it's a big deal. This judge, like who knows? Maybe this judge wants to make a little name for himself though and be like, yo, I'm fucking Judge Wardell. Oller, is that his name? Warner, my apologies. Judge Warner. Randall Warner. I brought back hemp-derived THC. Where's my people? Yes, sure. Yes, sure. Huh? No, I don't think so, though. Attorney General will be like, what, Randall? Randall. I'll see you in the private club later, Randall. Or will I? Membership revoked, Randall. You know what I could have played for you, which was really interesting stuff, was the fast track of $12.99. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I watched Kush Chronicles put together like a montage of like these 3 committees in the House that went on the 18th, and super random, man. What's up, my man? We got Anna McKenzie in the building. Yeah, we're on a recess right now, a little short halftime recess over here. So they should be coming on here pretty soon. I'm getting nervous that the link is old, but I'm going to trust that hey, if, who knows? Could I look up the judge? Let's look up the judge. See what old Judge Randall Warner's out here talking about. Judge Randall Warner on cannabis. Oh, he's already getting some publicity. He's already getting it. Uh-oh. He's feeling some type of way. He saw his name in the paper. Let's make sure he saw his name in the paper. I don't see it. Okay. All right. Oh, this man's been cooking in the courts. Look at this. Started with family court, man. He's all about the pops. He's all about being with their families. Okay. He went on the criminal. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna fucking. You're a criminal. I'm coming after you here. I'm a judge. I'm gonna make sure things are done right." Civil. Oh, juvenile. Back to the kids. Oh, back to fucking family court. Now he's in civil. Interesting. Deal. All right, I'm getting a little nervous that the link is old. Not gonna lie. Clicking out. I think I'm gonna click out and go back. No, boop boop. What do you think? Boop boop. It said 10 minutes. Feels like it's been 11. I'm getting nervous. Now, oh shit.
Video in the courtroom, but I'm happy to have counsel go ahead and get started.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm at a baseball tournament. Otherwise, I'd appear on video. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Dean.
Thank you. What kind of baseball tournament are you at?
It's 16U.
Okay. Where are you at? Where are you speaking to us from?
From Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Okay. And can you give me an idea of your educational background?
Yes, I graduated from the University of Minnesota, Duluth, with a BA in history. I also have an MBA from the University of Minnesota's Carlson School of Management. Received that in 2005.
All right. And are you involved in what's your occupation?
I am the founder and CEO of Northern Diversified Solutions. We are a hemp ingredient provider located in Burnsville, Minnesota.
What does that mean, hemp ingredient provider?
It means we take USDA hemp biomass, USDA compliant per the Farm Bill from 2018. We take that biomass and we process it into various cannabinoids. So
9 THC?
Delta 9. You are correct.
What about Delta 8 THC?
We do not process Delta 8.
Okay. Just mentioned, are these all hemp-derived cannabinoids?
Yes.
Okay. And do you manufacture them, these ingredients, are they intended for ingestion or inhalation, or do you do both?
Mainly ingestion, a little bit of inhalation, but mainly ingestion. 70% of our business is emulsified, meaning that it's an edible or a beverage.
Okay. Do you have first-hand experience in the manufacturing process?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us a brief description of what that entails?
Yes. So we take, again, USDA compliant hemp in. We're in Minnesota. Most of our biomass, we originate in Minnesota, and it's got what's known as a fit for commerce certificate, which means that the Department of Ag has tested it, and it's below 0.3% THC.
When you say
we bring it in.
Can I interrupt you? When you say THC,
Yeah.
do you mean any particular type of THC?
Delta 9 and THCA.
Okay, is there any restriction on, say, Delta 8 THC under the law?
No, Delta 8 is not naturally occurring at any meaningful level.
Okay. So what you're saying is that what you're talking about when you use the word THC, you're specifically Delta 9 THC. Is that my understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I might have interrupted you. I'm sorry. I don't think you were finished.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So the Department of Ag gives a fit for commerce certificate. So we bring that biomass in, typically in super sacks, and it has to have that fit for commerce, meaning it's fit for commerce, meaning it's legal hemp. And once we get that, we then further process that. We do milling, extraction, distillation, isolation, conversion, and then emulsification.
Thank you. Do you do any kind of testing on your products?
Yes. We require a full panel test from the grower at intake on the biomass. So we test for pesticides, heavy metals, herbicides, microactivity, and as well as like commercially, we're concerned with potency as well as moisture, which impacts our yields, but the others on the full panel are more for safety.
Okay. Have you received any reports, your company, about any of your products having harmed consumers?
Never.
Are you a member of the Hemp Industry Trade Association?
Yes.
And prior to the Attorney General's letter of enforcement, which gave notice, I think a 30-day notice to so you were not selling products directly in Arizona?
No, our customers were.
Do you know whether or not those customers have had to cease sales in Arizona as a result of the enforcement letter?
Yes.
Okay.
Multiple.
Okay. Have you read the enforcement letters that we're talking about?
I have not.
Okay. Do you understand what they're threatening to do?
Yes.
Okay. Do you take that to be a threat of criminal prosecution?
Can you clarify for me or for?
I mean, do you take
for our company or
for
our customers?
Yeah, let's talk about just in general. Is your understanding that enforcement letter is a threat of prosecution to persons who continue to sell these products in Arizona?
Yes, I understand it as that.
Did the enforcement letters that we're talking about affect any of your business relationships?
Yes.
And in what way?
It shut multiple customers down. They were unable to sell in Arizona.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. I want to say it right.
Marinkovich. Yeah.
You should know that I'm from Cleveland and I should be better at pronouncing that kind of a name. But thank you, Mr. Marinkovich. I appreciate it. No further questions.
Thank you.
Examination, please.
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Will you tell him your name first?
Yes, this is Veronica Skinner with the Arizona Attorney General's office. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I just have a couple questions for you. I know you mentioned the testing processes that your company goes through. To clarify, your company is providing ingredients that you're sending to companies in Arizona or finished products?
We do not ship to Arizona. We ship to other co-manufacturers, and then our customers' brands we're selling in Arizona, but don't anymore.
Okay. And once a product leaves your facility, do you have any involvement with any further processing is done of a product before it hits the streets in Arizona?
Can you clarify that?
Once a product leaves your company's hands, do you have any involvement with any further processing that is done of a product by one of your customers?
We assist our customers and their co-manufacturers to make sure everything is in spec and it's safe.
Okay. And you mentioned that, I think on direct examination, you had not read any of the Arizona Attorney General's opinion, either the 2024 opinion or the 2025 enforcement letter. Is that accurate?
I have not read it.
Okay. And so I know that, is it accurate to say that the testing you're doing, when you're saying it's in compliance with the law, you're solely referring then to the Hemp Act and federal regulations? Is that accurate?
We test in compliance with Minnesota guidelines.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Sir, this is Judge Warner. I have one quick. It's not clear to me whether, does your company provide the product that gets emulsified into edibles or beverages, or do you actually put it into edibles and beverages and then your customers brand it?
Yes, sir. We provide the emulsified product, and then they put it in a beverage or edible.
Got it. Thank you.
We do not have finished product.
Thank you. Redirect. All right. Thank you for your time. We're going to let you go.
Judge,
All right. Thank you, everyone.
thank you, Kyle.
All right, bye.
Judge, I don't have any further witnesses. I did have an exhibit that I wanted the court to take judicial notice of. I would like to take judicial notice of the testimony offered for SB 1003, which was the.
Tell me which exhibit number. Is this the 28?
What I'm offering is this portion of the testimony from 1003 from 2019, which was 28, which was Senator Borelli's testimony during the Water and Agriculture Committee hearing in connection with 1003.
Is there an objection?
I'm not sure it's the entire portion of his testimony, but I think it's essentially a legal source.
Yeah, I think it falls more under legislative history than it does evidence, but I'm going to admit it so that I can consider it. So I'm admitting plaintiff's exhibit 28.
Nothing further from the plaintiff, Judge.
Thank you. State have other evidence?
We have two witnesses, Your Honor. The first one I could call Detective Matt Shea.
They'll come forward. Follow the ramp right there up to the witness stand next to me. State and spell your name, please.
Yes, sir. It is Matthew Shea. That is S-H-A-Y, sir.
Do that. All right. Let's have a seat.
Thanks, sir.
I'm just making sure I have the exhibit set up, Judge. Will you work on that? Good afternoon, Detective. What is your current position? Where do you work?
I am currently a detective with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. I work in the Special Investigations Division, and that is a task force position that revolves around narcotic suppression.
How long have you worked in law enforcement?
I've been a cop for 30 years, sir.
All with the Sheriff's Department?
No, sir. I retired from the Phoenix Police Department after 22 years and then came immediately same day over to the Sheriff's Office.
Can you just give the court, for your background, a summary of the different positions you've had in law enforcement?
Yes, sir. I worked patrol for 3 years. In patrol, obviously, I was first a on-field training. So in other words, they were training me. And then after 2 years, I was a field training officer. After that, I was brought over to the Drug Enforcement Bureau, where I remained for the rest of the time, essentially when I was at the Phoenix Police Department, with the exception of the last 6 months. Last 6 months, I went back to Sunny Slope as a patrol officer again, as I got ready for the retirement section where I was going to move over to the Sheriff's Office. While at the Drug Enforcement Bureau, primarily I was on, I did street squads. I did some conspiracy squad work. I worked with a temporary with the ATF, some temporaries with the DEA, and I was on the technical surveillance squad. My last 7 years with Phoenix PD were on the same task force that I'm on now.
And so we're here to talk about marijuana, hemp. So I want to ask you some questions about your experience in that area.
Yes, sir.
So going back to when you just became a police officer 30 years ago at the academy, you received some basic narcotics training.
Yes, sir. At the academy, you receive basic narcotics training, and that includes production of marijuana, the use of marijuana, production, manufacture of hemp, and the use, I'm sorry, not of hemp, of hashish, and the consumption of hashish.
And you mentioned transferring to the Drug Enforcement Bureau about 3 years into your career. What type of training did you receive related to marijuana, cannabis products as a Drug Enforcement Bureau?
Sure. So we go to conferences. I go to conferences about twice a year. So that's about 2 weeks out of the year, or 80 hours worth of training at least. In addition, as part of the Drug Enforcement Bureau and also in the Sheriff's Office, I'm part of the Clandestine Laboratory Squad. So we're additional training having to do with the variety of different clandestine labs that are out there. In particular, one section of those clandestine laboratories involve marijuana grows and cannabis manufacture operations. So receive a lot of training on that, specifically from some particular groups that are out of California. And now when I go to these conferences, we try and focus on these portions of it on marijuana and cannabis, that type of a thing, sir.
Overall, in terms of your training, about how many hours of training have you had on marijuana products, cannabis?
I haven't reviewed it. It's at least 400 hours worth of training on marijuana production, marijuana use, trafficking, the manufacture of cannabis products, and being able to investigate and mitigate those.
And so in terms of your training, you've trained on the plant itself, marijuana plant?
Yes, sir.
How it's grown?
Yes, sir.
How cannabinoids are extracted from the plant?
Yes, sir.
Different types of products that are sold?
Correct.
And do you also teach about marijuana and cannabis?
I do, sir.
How long have you been teaching?
About 4 years into my career, I got my instructor certification. I started teaching the academy classes, and I taught 3 different academies throughout the state on basic narcotics. As we moved forward, I started training specific classes having to do with clandestine laboratories, and also in the production of marijuana and the manufacture of cannabis from marijuana. I teach at those same conferences that I attend, and I've taught at conferences throughout different states. I also have taught at different agencies throughout a couple of the different states within the U.S. Sir.
In terms of your experience, how long have you been investigating marijuana and cannabis related crimes?
Well, marijuana and cannabis is unfortunately still the #1 abused narcotic and product that is out there. So I've seen it throughout my entire career. But since probably 2010, we've kind of specialized in it in one aspect of our task force. We assist the Department of Health and a number of agencies throughout the state in either consult with us or we assist them with their investigation of either marijuana grows or the production of cannabis products, sir.
How many grows have you investigated?
Be hard to guess. I've been probably over 100 marijuana grows for certain, everything from 30,000 plants to, sometimes we'll come across 12 or 15 plants, which are a no-brainer, but kind of the average is probably 150 to 300 plants. So at least 100 of those, sir.
And you know how marijuana products are sold illegally?
Oh, yes. Black market marijuana is still very prevalent throughout the U.S.
And you've actually worked with dispensaries in terms of understanding their business model and how they sell and produce marijuana products?
Yeah, since 2010, I've developed a relationship with a number of dispensaries. We've gone over and received training from some of those larger dispensaries that do grows and do extractions. So I've received training from probably 4 different dispensaries throughout the state of Arizona, and we visited maybe another 10 or so.
You're familiar with cannabinoids?
I am, sir.
We'll talk more in detail, but just a general definition, what are they?
Well, it's a natural product that's produced by the cannabis sativa L plant, and it is one of, depends on which researcher you talk to, but it's between 90 and 120 different compounds that are contained within that plant that can act within the human body.
And as part of your job, have you done marijuana extractions?
Yes, sir.
How many times have you extracted cannabinoids from?
So I've done at least 40 cannabis extractions using solvent methods, and another probably 40 or 50 using kind of a dry sift method, sir.
All right, so let's just talk about marijuana, and I'm going to put up here on the screen. It should be States Exhibit or Defense Exhibit 7. We have that. Clint, are you following my presentation? I'm going to just follow it so it's full screen. Follow percentages. I think it will now. I put on a blank screen. I'll take that off. All right, we're ready. There we go. Detective Shea, you're familiar with this exhibit?
I am. You have shown it to me, sir.
And can you just summarize the
exhibit itself?
Yeah.
It's basically a PowerPoint that's going to basically introduce a couple different sections of how marijuana is produced and how cannabis is extracted from it, sir.
Judge, can I move to admit State's Exhibit or Defense Exhibit 7?
Is there an objection? Yeah. Thank you. Defense 7 is admitted.
Dr. Shea, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about cannabinoids, and let's start there. So can you just describe sort of what are the common cannabinoids?
Again, they're a naturally produced product within the marijuana plant. So Cannabis sativa L is the genus. Underneath that is the species Cannabis, and underneath that is the subspecies Sativa, Indica, and Ruderalis. All of those have what we call cannabinoids that are contained within them, and they're concentrated mostly around the flowers or the petals, leaves that are closer to the flowers. The picture that we see on the screen here shows 3 different images. The bottom left is basically the marijuana flower. And as we go right above that, it's a closer image of one of the leaf or in that flower area. And those are trichomes, those little hairs that you see there. They're basically a hollow cellulose type of a product, which contains the oil in the marijuana plant. That's where most of your cannabinoids are going to be concentrated. And then the third one, which is in the middle right, that's a very close-up of those trichomes, sir.
What are the common cannabinoids?
Again, there's about 120 of them. There are 8 specifically that are kind of the most common one, and 2 that are the ones that are most commonly referred to. And that's going to be THC and CBD. Tetrahydrocannabinol and cannabidol are the 2 primary ones, sir.
Do you consider them all intoxicating?
No, sir.
What do you consider intoxicating cannabinoids?
Generally, the THC is going to cause those intoxicating effects, sir. Cannabidol, if it is isolated, so CBD isolate, generally doesn't have any type of intoxicating effect and is usually used in balms and items like that we see occasionally sold retail, etc. It's the THC products, the tetrahydrocannabinol, that react with the human brain, the CB1 receptor that's in the brain, and cause an intoxicating effect.
You mentioned THC products, and we've talked about different ones today, Delta 8, Delta 9. Just generally, what are those different?
Sure. So there's products? Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, actually have a Delta 7, but it's not really much used. THCA is very common. Now we're seeing THCO and THCP, all of intoxicating, and most of those, although they're derived from the marijuana plant, with the exception of Delta 9, most of those are actually, they're with a chemical manufacture process, they are turned from CBD into a THC product.
When you hear people, like you talk about THC generally, what kind of THC are you referring to?
So most common THC is going to be Delta 9 THC, although we're seeing a significant increase in Delta 8 and Delta 10 and the THCA, sir.
All right, so let's move on to the next page here, page 3 of the slide. It's just about the marijuana plant itself. Can you just describe the different species of the marijuana plant?
Yeah, sure. So the family is Cannabis, and then it goes down to genus. The genus is going to be basically the Cannabis sativa L. L is after the first guy that isolated it and kind of identified it. And then it goes into a subspecies generally considered to be Sativa, Indica, and Ruderalis. Sativa, Indica, and Ruderalis have different amounts of either THC or CBD in them. And in general, Sativa is supposed to have the most THC, Indica slightly less, more in line of how much CBD is going to be in that product. And Ruderalis was kind of the original hemp plant where they had very low or no THC within that. But since then, it's kind of all been mixed together. They'll make hybrids of them. And now we see a variety of those plants kind of mixed. So we'll see a partial indica, maybe a partial Ruderalis with some sativa, etc. And so there's a wide variety of different types of marijuana plants, what they might call strains of marijuana that are available out there for people to pick from and get whatever product they want from that.
So let's unpack some of that. Basic question, THC found in all those different plants?
Yes, sir, to an extent in every one, much less in Ruderalis, much more in sativa and indica.
You mentioned this traditionally hemp was considered the rudialis plant.
Yeah, so hemp and marijuana have been around since 2700 BC, and it had been used for fiber and extracting oil from the seeds since back then. 1940 is when they identified CBD. 1942, they identified Delta-8 CBD and Delta-10 CBD, and they started to investigate those effects. And in 1968, 69, they identified that CBD did not have an intoxicating effect, whereas 8 and 10 at that time were using an intoxicating effect, sir.
So when we talk about hemp, the legal definition, it could be any of those plants as long as it satisfies the legal definition?
Yeah, hypothetically, they use the term hemp much like they use the term cannabis. And when I say they, just the general public, can mean a lot of different things. But specifically, hemp has been always used to make textiles and, again, some oils and even feed animals with the seed process. Now, since the 2018 bill, hemp is more kind of designed around how much Delta-9 THC at a dry weight is identified in that product.
And it could be either one of those species of plant.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And move on to page 4, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about extracts, concentrates. You familiar with that term?
Yes, sir.
And just for context, are you familiar with the legal definitions of cannabis and marijuana in Title 13?
The Arizona legal definition, yes, sir.
Yeah, and just so we could distinguish when we're talking about those terms, can you just give a brief summary of what those two are?
Sure. The state of Arizona, legally, we define marijuana as kind of the plant product, and cannabis is any of the, essentially the oils that are going to be extracted from that plant product.
So on slide 4 here, we're talking about the legal definition. We're talking about cannabis. Can you just give a basic overview of how cannabis is created?
Yes, sir. 2 basic methods, sir. You can either do it what we would call mechanically, so you could screen it, you could sift it, you could freeze those trichomes, knock them off the plant and collect them, or you can go with basically a solvent-based extraction, which also might include a CO2-based extraction. But that is using a solvent essentially to absorb the cannabinoids out of the marijuana plant, get rid of the plant material, and then you would dry off the solvent that you used. It would either evaporate or you might recollect it using vacuum. And what is left behind is going to be your base. If we're doing THC, it would be a THC oil. And they would call it, I think one of the last gentlemen described it correctly as crude oil. It generally comes out very dark. And at that point, you may purify it a bit, and then you could end up with a product like we see on the screen here. This is going to be cannabis distillate, which is a very purified form of that has been extracted from the marijuana plant.
And what are some of the common names for those extracts or distillates?
Forever it's been called hash or hashish, but recently it's a variety of extracts. So there's dabs, there's vapes, but distillate, again, is what's here. They'll call it concentrate because you're concentrating your cannabinoid. And generally we're talking about THC there. And then you might refer to these specific products. So edibles, vape pens, intoxicants, drinks, etc.
What is the THC potency of products developed from those extracts?
Depends on what stage you're at. If you're using a marijuana plant with a significant amount of THC initially in it and you extract it, generally that first crude oil is going to be sort of the 60 or 70% THC level. And as you purify it more, as you distill it off, you can get it up to about the 95 percentile if you really go at it pretty well.
And I think you've touched on this already, but just can you explain how those extracts are used in cannabis products?
So you would take, it depends again if what you're making and how you're making it. But in the case of a distillate, that's generally used for a vaporizer pen. Fill a vaporizer pen, put in a thinner, and then you can actually essentially smoke it or vaporize it. You could potentially use this distillate in an edible product or something along those lines. And then obviously potentially, or if you're going to put it in a drink, you would bring it down to a crystalline level generally, and then mix it in with the drink product. In gummies, you might add it directly into the mixture you are going, the gelatin, which you're going to make the gummies, and then chocolate bars and cookies are all kind of the same things.
Let's let's say a drink, we'll take a drink. So it says 10 milligrams of THC. Is that referring to extracted THC?
That would be THC that's been originally generally brought down to a dry or a crystalline level, mixed in to the product. So it would be 10 milligrams of that THC that's going to be in that product that you're drinking.
So in other words, we're not talking about like chopped up marijuana that's fun to drink or something like that.
No, sir. Chopped up marijuana and edible is very old school, like way grandma's brownies kind of a thing.
Let's move on. I'm going to move on to Exhibit 8. Wait for this to pull up here. Maybe my internet complies. There we go. It's unfortunately sideways. Detective Shay, are you familiar what Exhibit 8 is?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe what that is?
It's a cannabis vaporizer that we intercepted coming in through, I think this package was through FedEx, coming into the state, and purports to contain 2 milliliters of sativa and then a mixture of hemp-derived products.
Is this a picture that you took?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I move to admit Exhibit 8.
No objection.
Exhibit 8 is admitted.
You mentioned that you intercepted this. Was this a product that was being shipped or sold to a dispensary in Arizona?
No, sir. It was being shipped to a distributor that provides it to smoke shops and head shops, stores throughout the state.
Now, you mentioned that as 2 milliliters of THC. Do you know what kind of THC it says it has?
Well, it purports to contain 2 milliliters of Delta 9 THC, but it says a THC blend, which then imply that the hemp-derived products that are in there are going to be a blend of probably Delta 8 and Delta 10. But it does not list the ingredients that are on there, sir.
Move on to Exhibit 9. Just wait for this one to pull up. There we go. Detective Shay, are you familiar with what is Exhibit 9?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe what it is?
That is basically flour, marijuana flour, that is purported to be made specifically of THCA.
Is that a picture?
It is, sir.
That you took?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I move to admit Exhibit 9.
Can I ask a clarifying question before I don't object?
With the witness?
Yes.
Go ahead.
About this exhibit, regarding this exhibit. I'm just seeing, I don't, is there somewhere this that says it's hemp derived?
Yes, actually, some of the other photos specifically have it, and the actual item is here in court, if you need to see it, sir.
Okay, but I mean, you're saying that on the label somewhere, it's purporting to be hemp derived?
Well, THCA is hemp derived, sir.
Well, it could be marijuana derived, couldn't it?
Oh, it could be, but it does say on the product that it's a hemp derived product.
All right, I think we've brought out the witness enough. If you want to cross the money, you can.
That's fine, Judge. Thank you. No objection to the admission.
Thank you. Defendant's 9 is admitted.
Detective Shay, you mentioned that the product's here in court.
It is, sir.
Does it say it's hemp derived?
I could read it to you specifically, but it'll say what it comes from. But all of these products say it there, derived from hemp.
Should we just get it? Judge, can I just show them as a demonstrative the actual exhibit, since there's a question over its source?
Yeah. I mean, you got it through security, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to use it as a demonstrative, that's fine. I'll tell you that in criminal cases, we do admit actual things like this as evidence, and it's kept by the clerk. I'm not going to do that in this case.
Tell me when you're ready.
I am ready, sir. Okay, so this says 7 grams of sativa THCA snow caps made by Terp Nation, nice. Produced in accordance with the Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018, i.e. hemp.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you intercepted this that was bound for a store in Arizona.
This was going to a distributor, which would then provide it to those stores.
Was that going to a dispensary in Arizona?
No, sir. This is not sold out of a dispensary. Couldn't be sold out of a dispensary. As a matter of fact, it doesn't have any of the proper markings. No, sir.
Judge, if we may, I could just release that product back to him.
It's fine.
Yeah. And then there's some questions earlier about how long these products, hemp derived products have been sold in Arizona. Do you have a time frame about how long they've been sold in Arizona?
Well, certainly they've been sold for at least 5 years, maybe longer, but we've really seen an insurgence in it in the last 2 or 3 years, and last year they really ramped it up.
When you mentioned the last year they really ramped it up, is that because a major retailer started selling them in the state?
Several major retailers started selling them in the state, sir.
Are you familiar with the Attorney General's 2024 opinion?
I am.
Were these products still being sold in the state after the 2024 opinion?
Afterwards, yes, sir.
What did the response seem to be to that opinion?
They doubled down. They increased significantly after the 2024 opinion.
Have you been in a Total Wine after that 2024 opinion?
Yes, sir.
Was issued? Were they selling hemp-derived THC products in Total Wine?
Yes, sir.
What were they?
They were Delta 9, 5 milligram, 10 milligram. I think I saw a 30 milligram bottle of Delta 9 THC inside in a liquid-based intoxicant.
And so different hemp-derived beverages?
Yes, sir.
And then, are you familiar with the letter that the Attorney General's office sent out in March of 2025?
I am, sir.
Did you go into a Total Wine after that letter was published?
I did, sir.
And I'm going to pull up what is Defense Exhibit 2. I'm going to blank the screen and just wait for this to load. Detective Sherry, familiar what is Defense Exhibit 2?
I am, sir.
Can you just describe what that is?
Yes, so this is a picture of one of the giant aisle of intoxicating hemp products that was at the Total Wine. What they did in this particular case is they used plastic to kind of bar the customers from potentially obtaining them, and then stuck this sign on top of it. So it's a picture of that, sir. And it is the broadcast to their clientele to advise them of why they were no longer able to purchase the intoxicating beverage.
Is that a picture that you took?
That one is not mine, sir. But I saw the exact same one. I was at the same one, sir.
That accurately displays the sign that was in Total Wine?
Exactly that sign, sir.
Judge, I move to admit Defense Exhibit 2.
No objection.
Defense 2 is admitted.
Judge, I have no further questions.
Cross-examination, please.
Okay, thanks, Judge. Hi, Detective Shea. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
We've seen each other in various cases over the years. I know
we have.
I like the beard, by the way. I haven't seen it with it and things.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a couple of questions about your testimony specifically. I heard you make a statement in response to the question whether CBD is intoxicating. And you said something, I believe you said to the effect of, generally it doesn't have an intoxicating effect. I just wondered what you meant by generally.
CBD isolate. So if we were to extract cannabinoids from a marijuana plant using a solvent-based method, and then we were to distill them to bring them down to their very, very purest form, we can extract specifically CBD from it, CBD that has no THC from it. So we'd call that CBD isolate. That is not going to be intoxicating at all. We can also take from that CBD product, though, and then we could start to manipulate it using heat and acid and a little bit of pressure, and then we can create intoxicating products from that CBD. THC8, THC10, THCA, all can be created from CBD. Even THC9, Delta 9 THC, I apologize, Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta 10, THCA, can all be made from that CBD. So in general, CBD is not intoxicating. However, if we manipulate it, if we start to mix and match and add acids to it, we can reform the molecules that are within there, and we can make that into an intoxicating product.
So at no level of CBD isolate, a human being could drink or eat or whatever, consume, inhale as much CBD as they wanted to, and they could not medically become intoxicated?
I don't believe the word would be intoxicated, but the FDA seriously discouraged people consuming large quantities of CBD.
Why is that?
Because they've had a lot of hospital visits with people consuming CBD products and then going to the hospital. I have several of those here in the court if you'd like to see them.
Okay, several of those what?
Reports from the FDA, sir.
And why did these people go to the hospital?
They consumed too much of a product that was purported to be CBD. It was most likely mixed with other things, or it could have been the CBD themselves. Unfortunately, the studies have not proven one way or another permanently what CBD is exactly to your body. It does some good things, apparently, but they believe it does some bad stuff too. And the more you consume, the more hazardous it can become. That's the FDA's opinion.
So, depending on how much you consume, would it be fair to say that from what we know now, CBD is potentially intoxicating?
Not intoxicating, sir. I don't believe intoxicating is a word, more of a hazard to your health.
Okay, but in toxicology, doesn't that mean when you consume something that it causes harm? How would you, let me ask you, how do you define it?
Well, again, it's from the FDA report. And the FDA talks about having issues with your chest, your blood pressure, when children get a hold of it, that they consume too much and they have to be hospitalized, etc. There's a whole list of different things. I don't know that any of them are considered to be intoxicated, that someone got too drunk or too high using a CBD product, but simply that they consumed too much of a product that either hadn't been tested properly, perhaps, or perhaps just having too much of that product.
Okay, so you're not, when we use the word intoxicating, we're not talking about like the FDA's definition of intoxicating. We're talking about something more different, that it causes. Did I hear you say? I'm not sure. Did I hear you say impairing or something? Or I'm not sure. I'm trying to understand what the word intoxicating.
Gotcha. Yeah, within the human brain, we have two cannabinoid receptors. Primary ones are CB1 and CB2. THC products react with the CB1 receptor and cause an intoxicating effect, cause you to get what we would call high. It can be severe euphoric or etc. And it really depends on the amount you consume, obviously, and how often you consume it. But that's generally how it works in the human brain.
And then CBD binds with, is it true that CBD binds with certain receptors, serotonin receptor in the brain?
CBD does, I believe so. Yes, sir.
And it can produce a euphoric feeling?
Can make you happy, I assume. Yes, sir.
All right. So again, I'm trying to figure out the scientific definition of intoxicating that the FDA talks about, which could involve chest pain or high blood pressure, that sort of thing.
I don't think the FDA talks about intoxicating, sir. They're talking about it causing potential harm with you materially, with your health. I don't believe that's intoxicating. Intoxicating is when you now may start to conduct yourselves in a manner other than what would be just kind of your normal day-to-day.
And where is that definition in the law?
I think that was my definition, sir, right there.
Does that definition, do you know, does that appear anywhere in the law?
I don't know that the state law has a definition on intoxication. I'm not familiar with it unless it's under the Title IV laws when it comes to liquor.
Okay. You talked about THC, and you've also talked about the different types of THC, Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta 10. Which of those THCs is restricted under both federal and Arizona law?
Under both? All of them. The DEA reports that they don't sanction any of the THC products, and the state of Arizona, any cannabis product that is intoxicating is going to be considered to be illegal. technically any cannabis product that's extracted is illegal, but as a law enforcement agent, we really just go after the ones that are going to be considered to be a drug, which would be an intoxicating one.
But the DEA has specifically issued an opinion indicating that Delta-8 is lawful under federal law.
I read one from 2023 where they said, oh, so you're saying Delta-8 is lawful under the federal law?
Right.
I'm not familiar with that at all, sir.
Well, okay, what my question was, do you know the definition of industrial hemp?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
It is a product that's been extracted from the marijuana plant under the 2018 Farm Bill, which contains less than 0.03% of Delta-9 THC.
Or 0.3%.
Is that what I said? That I say?
0.03.
Yes.
0.3%. Okay, of what?
0.03%.
Is it 0.03% or?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm wrong.
That's all right.
I think the law actually says 0.3 of one.
Yeah.
What?
You're right.
I was right. 0.3. All right. 0.3 I think 0.3% of Delta-9 is how the law is actually written.
30. Okay. Sure. Yes, sir.
And which of the types of THC does that restriction apply to?
Which types of THC? It talks about Delta-9 THC.
Okay. Does it have any similar restriction for any other kind of THC?
No, sir.
Does Delta-8 naturally occur within the cannabis sativa plant?
In very small quantities, yes, sir.
I think you mentioned THCA. Does that naturally occur?
It does. That can be in pretty large quantities.
Okay. We're talking about Total Wine. We saw a sign. I think you said that they were putting Delta-9 THC into, I think the word you used was an intoxicating liquid, but they're not putting that in alcohol. You're not saying they're putting that in alcoholic beverages, are you?
No, they're putting an intoxicating beverage or intoxicating liquid. I say pretty much the same thing, but yeah, they're selling it at a liquor store, but it doesn't actually contain any alcohol in it.
Okay. And do you have any evidence that those beverages contain more than 0.3% Delta-9 THC?
No, I think I was just talking about the milliliters, the quantity in total dry weight that would be inside that product, and it's listed on the products themselves.
Is marijuana under, say, the Medical Marijuana Act or the Smart and Safe Arizona Act, is Delta-9 percentage restricted?
No, they don't make, in Arizona, we don't make any differential between Delta-9, Delta-8, Delta-10, any of those. It's called cannabis, or marijuana.
So it could be 99% Delta-9 a product could, under, say, the adult use law.
Yeah, if you're selling it out of the dispensary, for sure.
So when that sign says that the products contain much less Delta-9 THC, isn't what they're saying is no more than 0.3%, whereas at a dispensary, you could buy something that's 99% Delta-9 THC?
I think what they're stating there, sir, is that it falls under what they believe to be covered under the Hemp Act of 2018, right, which is the 0.03%. And then they talk about the dry weight of that product that's been added to their product. And so in that case, then it becomes a certain milliliter. Is it 10 milliliters or 30 milliliters or whatever else? So if I have a plant which is making 0.3% of some product, and I had a plant that's making 30% of O3 product, I think we were talking like oranges just a couple minutes ago, one of the other witnesses there. So we can talk about kind of a nice big orange that has a lot of juice in it, or a small orange with a little bit of juice in it. I can still fill this cup with orange juice. I just got to use more of these than this. So all we need is more of that 0.03% that's taken out of the hemp product and add it, and we can get it to a level where by dry weight, it has say 10 milliliters of THC in it. So they'll add more sugar or whatever else, dry weight, add some liquid, and now you have a chemical product, and still stays under that 0.3%, sir.
Okay. So I think, though, that there is a distinction between hemp and the marijuana that's sold at a dispensary, insofar as the hemp can only contain no more than 0.3% Delta-9 THC.
Yeah, but they sell those same liquids so those same drinks that are sold at, say, Total Wine, they can sell those at the dispensary, and they do. Same kind of product.
But they're not. The difference is supposedly that the ones at Total Wine are derived from hemp.
Right. Yeah, they use some process to extract the product from hemp, and in a dispensary, I can only imagine they might get that also from marijuana.
Can I ask you, what is we've been talking about cannabinoids. How would you define a cannabinoid?
The naturally occurring substance that's contained within the marijuana plant. There's between 90 and 120 of these cannabinoids that are inside the marijuana plant. They're generally going to be psychoactive. It causes some type of effect inside your body. The primary ones we talk about, however, sir, are CBD and THC.
Okay. Would you consider it to be a constituent element of the cannabis sativa plant?
Can you clarify a little bit better? So a constituent element, it's part of the cannabis sativa L plant. So it's without the cannabinoid, you don't have a cannabis sativa L plant.
Okay. So I think you mentioned since the publication of the Attorney General's advisory opinion last year that you've been conducting investigations on is it fair to say manufacturers, distributors, and retailers of these hemp cannabinoid consumables?
No. So we talked about going to Total Wine. I go there to buy beer all the time, and you cannot miss during that time the amount of intoxicating liquids that they had in there. It was an entire row, thousands of bottles. So you couldn't miss those. That wasn't an investigation. That was me swinging by to get some beer and noticing that. We do seize products that come in through parcels that are illegal, and we don't allow them to get to their destination, but we have not taken any enforcement action allowing for the grace period, which was allowed by the Attorney General's office, and even the additional month's grace period after that. So we have not done any enforcement action with the exception of seizing the product and not allowing it to get to its destination.
So let me take one. Cannabinoid Delta 8s. But how long have you been seeing that being sold on a retail basis in Arizona?
We started seeing it in large masses about a year ago, maybe a little more than that, but probably a year ago. We also see it quite significantly on the black market being sold now.
At smoke shops, hasn't it been sold for a good deal, up to 4 years now?
Yeah, but that's entirely possible, but we have not launched any investigations about any of the smoke shops or the liquor stores that sell those products. They sell a variety of products in which we could investigate. We had our hands full with just simply the regular marijuana products they were selling out of there. So as far as the CBD products, we might seize, we might report, but I don't believe we did any enforcement action, and we have yet to do so until we kind of conclude things with the Attorney General's office here.
What do you mean regular marijuana products?
Smoke shops will sell under the counter THC vapes, THC weed, etc. Some of unfortunately, not all of these smoke shops are up and up. Some of them are just going to deal under the table. So we see that.
Meaning that they're not really hemp-derived products. They're just straight up diverted marijuana.
Those are the ones that we will seize and actually enforce. If we find hemp-derived products, which we do, those just get impounded.
But why, is it your opinion that those products are just as illegal as kind of regular marijuana?
It's the Attorney General's opinion, sir.
And so, have you made, why the lack of enforcement then?
Because again, the Attorney General decided to give a grace period to allow those people that are manufacturing and just trying to earn a living to be able to comply, to understand why they made that decision, and perhaps even to let them fight it in court. Have you been
Conducted research into methods of manufacturing of these hemp-derived cannabinoid products?
Not necessarily investigations. I've consulted with dispensary agents and people that manufacture cannabis products about how they do that. Some of them actually extract CBD from it. I've been to a number of CBD businesses which have had unfortunate accidents or incidents that have occurred during that manufacture process, discussed it with those guys. I've done a significant amount of research, not only in preparation for this case, but also to be able to teach that topic in a variety of classes. So I wouldn't say it's been an investigation, sir, but I have a moderate amount of knowledge.
Mr. Dean, we are running low on time, so I need you to wrap up with this.
Have you been working with the Arizona Department of Agriculture at all in potentially trying to figure out this issue?
So in the beginning, when they started with right after 2018, we're working quite a bit with the Department of Agriculture, trying to figure out what their process was of of testing hemp. We talk with them because they would get complaints from citizens, or we would get complaints from citizens about these large hemp fields, trying to educate them on what hemp was and what hemp wasn't, and how we could determine if it was a product that was legal or not. So I worked with them quite a bit on that. Since then, we kind of contact them, involve them, but again, we don't do much enforcement on hemp-derived products as of yet.
Okay, you've testified about CBD. And you had a slide up about, from your PowerPoint, I think the slide was entitled Cannabis Legal Definition. And that was the legal definition under the criminal code, correct?
In the state of Arizona Criminal Code 133401.
Under that definition, would CBD be a narcotic drug?
Under that definition, any extract would be. So technically, that would be considered to be cannabis. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm skimming through, Judge, and
Sure, thank you.
cutting here. So what would you say is the legal distinction by law or statute or regulation between CBD, the Attorney General's office likes, and Delta 8 THC, which it doesn't like? And I'm talking about not scientific, but the legal distinction.
Are you saying Delta 8 on that, sir?
Yeah, because you're saying they're both narcotic. I think you said CBD is a narcotic drug. I think you'd probably say Delta 8 was a narcotic drug as well. What's the legal distinction between the two then?
Yeah, so they define basically the extraction of any of those oils from the marijuana plant as being cannabis. Cannabis, obviously under 3408, as you know, is considered to be a narcotic drug. However, I do not believe, I know my agency, the Phoenix Police Department, the Attorney General's office, all of the county attorneys I've ever talked to, no one's interested in enforcing against CBD products if it's CBD and CBD isolate. Somebody wants to rub CBD on their body or consume a CBD pill because they think that'll be great for them, knock yourself out as far as we're concerned. We'll provide some warnings, certainly. Hey, FDA says it's not great to consume this stuff or whatever else, but none of us are going after anybody for CBD. Now, if you take that CBD, turn it into THC, any of those THC products, start selling that as an intoxicating product, it's going to be a different story.
How much Delta 8 does it take for a person to become intoxicated?
Well, the recommended dosage of any THC product is for a beginner 5 milligrams and for an intermediate user 10 milligrams. The state dispensaries will only sell a product that's up to 100 milligrams total, but even they will tell you only take 10 milligrams at a time. If we were to take the last one of the last witnesses that talked about it being 66%, which I'm not sure that's accurate, but perhaps it is. Delta 8 THC is supposed to be a little less potent, then maybe it's 12, but it's going to be very difficult to tell. And there's really no FDA testing or anything like that, so it's really hard to say, sir.
And I know you're familiar with the Attorney General's opinion on both its advisor opinion, which was, I think, fine to Delta 8, and also the enforcement letters that were more broadly speaking to a category of cannabinoids that it would consider intoxicating.
I believe her opinion says Delta 8 and the other cannabinoids that are along with it, sir, which would include, I believe, all those other cannabis products that are there. At least that's what's inferred at the minimum.
Is it the Attorney General's opinion then that if a CBD product...
That's Objection Foundation.
Overruled, let him finish the question. Then you can object.
That if is it the Attorney General's opinion is that, for example, Delta 8 is illegal, what if a trace amount of Delta 8 was in a CBD product? Would that make the entire product illegal based on your understanding of the Attorney General's position?
That's Objection Foundation.
Overruled. You can answer if you know. If you don't know, it's fine.
I honestly, so as far as the written opinion, if it is into an intoxicating beverage that is meant to provide a product that is clearly meant to be intoxicating. It's sold at Total Wine. It's in a vaporizer that has a product on there that says, hey, if you smoke this, you're going to get stoned. Then those are probably going to be considered to be illegal. If there was trace amounts of THC in a bomb or something that you're going to put on yourself, I don't know that we would ever know about it. And I don't think anyone would get intoxicated from it. So I think that's what she's talking about. If you're making an intoxicating product with cannabis in it, then that is considered to be illegal under the state of Arizona. And that's the Attorney General's opinion as she's written it.
Regarding the products,
I need you to wrap up, please.
Okay, Judge, I just have one other category that I'll finish with, if that's all right. I'm going to make it as quick as possible. So one last category about the exhibit.
Go ahead, ask the question.
The exhibits that we were shown, they're purported to be hemp derived. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can only go off of what the markings are on the box or the label, sir.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they really are.
No, it certainly doesn't. Could be derived from a variety of different things.
Isn't the only way for it to be considered legally a hemp derived product is if it comes from hemp, from industrial hemp?
So if it is, maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. Can you re-ask that for me?
So that you talked about the definition of industrial hemp being containing 0.3% or less of Delta-9 THC. So these products to be hemp derived would have to come from a plant that was tested in the field at that level.
I think they just say they're coming from a hemp plant, and we're just going off of what the product says on itself, sir. But I wasn't there when they picked it.
But then it wouldn't really be hemp, because if it doesn't come from a hemp plant that tested at 0.3% or less, Delta-9 in the field, we heard testimony about when it's got to be done within 30 days before harvest, then it wouldn't really be hemp derived at all. It would just be marijuana derived.
And I'm still trying to understand your argument. So you're saying unless I see it comes from a hemp plant?
Don't worry about his argument. Just answer his question.
I'm trying to answer it. I apologize, sir. So if it says it comes from a hemp plant, sir, I believe it comes from a hemp plant.
Really? On the label, it says it comes from a hemp plant, and you believe it just on that basis?
Oh, I agree that much labeling is falsified, et cetera, and that they don't tell all the total ingredients that are in there. But if you were not going to have it from a hemp plant, I don't know why you would. The only other place it could come from is a marijuana plant, and I don't know why they would do that, like a non-sanctioned hemp plant.
You're not familiar with the practice that's prevalent right now, where marijuana is converted and repackaged and labeled as hemp?
Oh, I'm very familiar with that, sir.
Okay. So the only way to know if it's hemp, though, is if you have that original certificate of analysis showing that it was tested in compliance with the Department of Agriculture regulation, showing that it was 0.3% less Delta-9 THC.
So if I went to Total Wine, I wouldn't be able to tell if any of those were made from hemp.
You'd have to ask them for the initial COA.
And Total Wine would have it?
I would assume so. Anyone should have it if they're going to be selling the products.
I'm not familiar with that, sir.
Okay. So you don't usually look for the original certificate of analysis in your investigations?
They don't ship it with the product that we intercept through FedEx, sir.
Okay. So then how do you know really if these are hemp products at all?
I'm going off of the labeling and what Total Wine puts out that they are, sir.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Detective.
Okay.
Thank you.
Redirect, please.
So just two quick questions. You talked about THC from marijuana that's sold at a dispensary in a drink, for example, and THC at Total Wine that's sold in a drink, for example.
Sure.
Usually you see them sold in a potential milligram of THC.
Yes, sir.
You're familiar with what the maximum amounts of THC a product could be sold in a dispensary in Arizona?
State of Arizona is one product, 100 milligrams, and then the suggested dosage is either 5 or 10 milligrams per individual consumption.
Let's break that down. So you could sell a product that contains up to 100 milligrams of THC.
Chocolate bar, for instance, might contain 100 milligrams.
10 milligrams per dose. That's the maximum.
Yeah, the chocolate bar will be broken in little squares, and they're suggesting these eat one square at a time. Don't eat too much, or bad things may happen.
And the products at Total Wine that you saw being sold, how much THC did they say they had in milligrams?
Most of them 10, some of them more, a couple of them were less.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
Thank you. Sir, go ahead and have a seat.
Thanks, Judge. My next witness, it's just, he was to establish 3% purchases that were bought at smoke shops in Arizona. It'll be pretty quick. I know it's 420. I think we can move through that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Called James Cope. You want to? And Judge, these were demonstrative. I was just going to have them describe them. I wasn't planning them in the actual products themselves.
That's fine. Will you state and spell your name, sir?
James Cope. The last name is Cope. Yes.
All right, be seated, please. So,
I'm just shot these to the defense counsel.
yes.
Can you just introduce yourself to the court?
I'm James Cope. I'm the Chief Special Agent.
So how long have you been a police officer?
37 years.
And so rather than go through lengthy introductions, given the time, I'm just going to ask in around March of 25, were you asked to go purchase or see if you could purchase some THC products from a smoke shop?
I was.
And did you do that?
I did.
And we're not here to really discuss the place, but can you describe where the location was that you purchased products from?
Yeah, it was a smoke shop located in Southeast Chandler,
And just
Arizona.
And just to be clear, it wasn't a dispensary?
It was not.
I'm going to walk through the individual products. It's been marked as Exhibit 4. I believe those are labeled as Snoop Dogg gummies. Can you, if you want to open that, you need to.
I don't need to.
Can you describe what the Snoop Dogg gummies are?
Well, they're labeled as Snoop Dogg treats, and they're purported, or the label says they're cherry lemon, and there's 5 gummies that they say are 5 Delta 9 gummies.
Does it say how many milligrams of THC are in those?
Yes. I'm not as good at this as Matt. 10 milligrams. I'm sorry, it says 10 milligrams CD and then 10 milligrams hemp derived Delta 9 per gummy, each gummy.
So that product claims that it's derived from hemp products?
Yes.
And once again, you bought that at a smoke shop here in Arizona?
I did.
Okay, let's move on to Exhibit 5, what's been marked as Exhibit 5. Those are the Gusher runts or runs, whatever.
Yes.
Can you just describe what that product is?
Sorry, what were they called?
They are called, made by Delta King, and they're called the Ultimate Gusher's Runts.
Gusher.
Yeah. And there's 10 gummies, with a total of 2,000 for the pack, and they purport to be 200 milligrams of Delta 8, Delta 9, HHC, THCP, and THCH.
And that's, so just to be clear, 200 milligrams of THC per gummy.
Correct.
And there's 10 gummies in the package?
There is, yes.
So 2,000 milligrams in total?
Correct.
Does that package claim that the THC is hemp derived?
Yes.
And again, just to be clear, you bought that from a smoke shop here in Arizona?
I did. It says this product is derived from 100% legal USA hemp and contains the statement from the 2018 Farm Bill.
And then let's move on to what was marked as a placeholder, Exhibit 6. Those are Cookie Airlines. Can you see that in that package?
Yeah, they're Snooperdoodle Cookie Airlines, and it's one cookie that has 250 milligrams Delta 9 THC. And then it has the, again, the 2018 hemp declaration on it.
Same product that you bought at the smoke shop in Chandler?
Correct. Yep. I bought all three at the same time.
Okay. And then lastly, let's move on to exhibit, what's marked as a placeholder exhibit, Exhibit 3. I believe those are a beverage.
Correct.
Can you describe what that beverage is?
It's made by a company called True Leave, and it's a THC infused drink that I purchased online, and it's called Onward Sea Salt Margarita.
Now that product, now True Leave is a dispensary company, correct?
Correct.
But that product, does it claim to be made from hemp, derived from hemp?
It does.
You mentioned that you bought that product online. Was it online through a dispensary?
No, it was just online on my computer.
Did they verify who you were when you bought it?
No, there was a thing that popped up asking if I was 21, but it didn't ask me for any kind of proof or anything.
How'd you get it delivered to you?
I ordered it online and it was delivered by FedEx to my house.
Did they verify identification, who you were when you bought it?
No, it was left on my porch.
And just it's clear, you said that product, it says that has 5 milligrams of THC in it?
Yes, 5 milligrams THC and CBD.
And in each can?
Correct.
There's 4 of them?
Yes, there is.
No further questions, Judge.
Okay, cross-examination, please.
These products that you obtained, were you able to trace them back to the original licensed hemp grower that produced the plants that these products were?
I did not know.
Do you know if they were derived from?
I do not.
Legal hemp plant. So other than just what they're putting on the label, that's the only evidence or reason to think that they might be hemp.
Correct.
And is the idea that if you say a product is hemp derived, that many people, distributors, retailers, might be under the impression that therefore is what gives it legal protection? You understand what I mean?
I do not.
So if they're selling it and calling it marijuana, it would be pretty obvious that without a license that they're not allowed to do that. So if they just call it hemp derived, then in compliance with the Agriculture Improvement Act, like it says on these labels, then the idea is that therefore gives it some cover or makes it legal, or at least appear to be legal.
You would have to ask the people that produce it. I'm not sure what they mean.
You don't know where they got it.
I'm sorry?
But you don't know where they got it.
No.
Okay. So we don't really know whether that's hemp at all.
Well, we haven't had them test it, no.
No further questions.
Thank you. Redirect?
None, Judge.
All right, thank you, sir. You take all that with you?
I did my best.
All right, folks, it's 4:30. I think that's it for evidence. Yeah?
That's it from us.
I guess my question is, we can take 10 minutes now and talk about the legal issues if you'd like. I can take time on Monday. I think I have time in the afternoon if we wanted to take a half an hour and talk about legal issues. What do y'all think?
Judge, I have an ongoing every Monday afternoon in Hilo County contract, so I can't appear on the afternoons.
I'm happy to take it under advisement. You briefed it well. I just didn't know if y'all wanted an opportunity to have argument.
Judge, I'm fine if you want to take under advisement. If you want to spend 10 minutes right now, that works too.
Let's just do 10 minutes right now then, Judge.
Sounds good. Right. So let me start by asking Mr. Dean, the state's brief cites the two criminal statutes, one involving marijuana and one involving cannabis. And I put cannabis in quotes because the way that statute defines cannabis is not the way most people understand the term to mean cannabis. It's a very technical definition. The marijuana statute has an express exception for industrial hemp. The cannabis statute does not. What am I to make of that?
Well, I think that
I'm sorry, I called it the cannabis statute. It's the narcotics statute, and cannabis is narcotics.
as an aside, Judge, it's even more confusing under Arizona Substances Act. The word cannabis includes both what are called marijuana and cannabis under the criminal code. So it does get a little confusing, but I think it's because those amendments were made based on the passage of Arizona's 2014 hemp law, which was based on the federal government's, Arizona's 2018 hemp law, which was based on the federal government's 2014 pilot program. And at that point, there was debate by the DEA, FDA, about whether or not these products, these extracts, if you will, or concentrates, as they've been referred to in other categories like medical marijuana, or what we call hemp cannabinoid consumables, were lawful. There was some disagreement, which was then clarified in the 2018 Agriculture Improvement Act by Congress saying by any part of the plant, we mean these derivatives, extracts, cannabinoids, and everything. I just don't think that those statutes were amended after that. We know that the regulations were modified. They hadn't been published yet, based on waiting for the 2018 Farm Bill. But those, on the DEA's opinion,
let me offer an alternative, and I want you an opportunity to respond to this. The marijuana statute appears to involve the plant, and the narcotics statute appears to involve, as pertains to THC, it's got lots of other stuff in narcotics, the THC derived from the plant. The criminal statute seems to make that distinction, and so maybe the inclusion of an exemption for industrial hemp in the marijuana statute suggests that the writers of that statute and the legislature that approved it didn't even think that industrial hemp would fall under the narcotics statute, because plants don't. Tell me why that's wrong.
well, because I think, first of all, that I don't think any indication that they didn't think that hemp could be consumed. They didn't think that that would be illegal consumption of it. Only that the Delta 9 couldn't exceed 0.3%. And then also, Judge, that I think that and I lost my train of thought there for a second.
It's late on a Friday.
The good one too, Judge. The question is why the distinction that they might not have thought that those products would ever have been included within the definition of industrial hemp. And I think, Judge, that though that was why they didn't know. They did. I think the answer is they didn't know, which was why they put a statute in ARS 3-312E, which specifically said, look, if it's allowed under federal law in the future, then the industry in Arizona is allowed to operate outside of the parameters of this pilot program. Because I think they weren't sure, but they left room open so that if the federal government later said, no, these products we meant to be legal and are legal, then therefore the industry in Arizona could go ahead and operate in compliance with those federal definitions and not be constricted by what might have been restrictions in the Arizona's pilot program.
Let me ask you a different question. If products with THC below the 0.3% threshold constitute industrial hemp, why do they have to be derived from other industrial hemp? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, this is what.
So you're saying, and I think the federal statute supports it, that the industrial hemp is both a thing that's grown, if it's got the low THC under the threshold, and things made from that that have a low THC under the threshold, right? But
All parts of the plant.
but if the statute just requires that industrial hemp have less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC, why does that have to come from other industrial hemp? Why can't you make low THC products from regular old marijuana?
Well, I think you could.
Okay.
There's any reason why, I think that was Detective State's testimony.
That would not be a hemp-derived cannabinoid. It would be
marijuana.
hemp.
I understand you correctly. You're saying you could make a low percent THC product out of marijuana.
Under your interpretation, I think you can.
I think chemically you could, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't do that. I think the technology is there to where if you want to make a low percent THC Delta 9.
You're not asking a technology question, I'm asking a legal question. That would be, under your interpretation, industrial hemp, whether it was derived from a low THC plant or not. As long as the end product is low THC.
No.
Why is that?
Absolutely not.
Walk me through the language of the statute as to why that is.
I understand. So the definition of hemp is that it contains less than 0.3% or less Delta 9 THC. At what point do we make that determination? The law says that it's done while the plant is in the field within 30 days of harvest. So the Department of Agriculture goes out, conducts in whatever state.
So then my question is, why does the gummy have to be below 0.3% THC by weight?
Well,
because as long as it's derived from a plant that's low THC, my question is, why does it have to be both? Why isn't it one or the other?
I think it's because the definition of hemp is that it's 0.3%. It's just that so it's always 0.3% is a limitation regardless of how downstream the product is from the plant. But what makes it hemp derived is the fact that it came from a plant that was tested by a Department of Agriculture or certified laboratory in the field and found to contain 0.3% or less of Delta 9 THC. That's what makes it a hemp derived product. If you took a marijuana product, on your legal question, that's going to be far and above 0.3%. It's going to be upwards of anywhere from 15 to, I don't know,
not if you dilute it with a lot of punch.
I mean, the plant.
Yeah.
The plant.
Yeah, for sure.
So the plant is going to be upwards of, let's just say 15%. So there's no way that you can end up with a hemp product if it came from a plant that was, first of all, way over 0.3% THC, Delta 9 THC, and secondly, wasn't tested in the field as is required. It doesn't become hemp until that certificate of analysis from the field testing shows it is 0.3% or less. That's when it becomes industrial hemp. And anything downstream from that products are hemp derived, but regardless of whether they're intended for human consumption or not, those are hemp derived. That's what makes them hemp derived. Am I answering you?
You have. Thank you, and I appreciate it. I need to turn to Mr. Klingerman. Are you the one? So my question is about CBD. It seems to me your position encompasses both CBD and THC infused items, unless it's a couple of people testified that you could make a CBD that has no THC in it, but that mostly it has a little bit in it. And I think your definition of your exclusion of industrial hemp from things made that have THC in them, I think it has to apply to CBD, right? Whether you all choose to enforce it or not is a different thing.
Yeah, Judge, I think there's two things. Any extract under the criminal code of a marijuana plant is considered cannabis. CBD is not excluded from that. We wrote our letter specifically.
Your view is CBD is criminal under the narcotics statute.
Yeah.
And it could be sold in a dispensary because the narcotics statute has an exception for things sold in dispensaries.
Yeah, certainly.
But it can't be sold. You can't get CBD. People may be turning a blind eye to it, but you think from a legal standpoint, you can't buy mail order CBD in Arizona.
I don't know how to read it otherwise. But we wrote our letter specifically. That market took off for whatever reason. I got limited resources. We're not interested in going out and enforcing CBD products that are being sold, and we're not doing that. I can tell you right now. When we talk about THC infused products, I think it's pretty clear when we're talking about what that is. It's Delta 9, Delta 8, THCA.
Yeah, let me ask you about the word intoxicating. That seems to me not to be a legal distinction under the hemp statute, but rather an enforcement distinction under the Attorney General's policies.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. There is no intoxicating word in the statutes. But I think in terms of your question, what do you make of the definition in the criminal code there, the exclusion under 13305, not in 13408? I think that makes all the difference in the world. A couple reasons, and specifically the agriculture statutes, Industrial Hemp Act, the pilot program, 3-320 clearly shows the legislature intended those two to work in concert. It's an affirmative defense to prosecution for the possession or cultivation of marijuana pursuant to Chapter 34, that the defendant is a licensee or a designee of an agent of a licensee who is in compliance with this article. They work in compliance. There's every indication that the legislature and the plain language of the statute was that industrial hemp products are no longer marijuana products. They no longer fit the definition in the criminal code. I could point you directly to 13305. There is no exception for a consumer or purchaser in that statute. It's all about the licensees. It's any licensee of the industrial hemp pilot program. And when you look at that, and it gives you the definition of what the products are: cloth, cordage, fiber, fuel, grain. They're not marijuana. It's something entirely different. We don't regulate t-shirts under the criminal code. And so it's an entirely different product. And the fact that you don't see that exclusion under the cannabis statutes, because the legislature never intended it to apply to those. That's the only obvious conclusion from that. And so in the terms of the legal analysis, it's legal. You read it, there's no exception. Definitely edible products. And in terms of, if we're talking about inhalable products, like that you saw the tree, I think it's Exhibit 9 from the state, the marijuana plant, licensees under the Industrial Hemp Act cannot sell marijuana plants to non-licensees. Just can't sell it. You can't sell it to the consumer. You can't sell it to anyone else. They're not covered under the act. There's no. And but didn't put links to the video. You could see from the sponsor, colloquially, it's rope, not dope. We're not talking about the enforcement of marijuana. We're talking about products that could be sold like they list in the statute: fiber, fuel, grain, paint, paper, construction materials, whatever it happens to be.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dean, I'll give you the last word.
Judge, I would just say that I think there's an indication that the legislature was considering consumption of these products when they decided to, at the time, again, it was unclear. The FDA was raising some issues specifically regarding these products being an unauthorized food additive. I don't have any legislative intent specifically to point to it, but the fact that they decided to limit, as far as what can be consumed, only products for ingestion, which was the FDA purview, and not any other form of consumption. And we had our witness, Mr. Ware, go through an exhaustive list of different types of methods of consumption or absorption. And the only method that the legislature chose to restrict in any way was ingestion. And under the rule of statutory construction, when you reference one thing in a list, it means that the others are permitted, or vice versa. Restricting or permitting one or restricting one means the others are treated the other way. So when you say ingestion specifically, that's restricted.
My struggle with that statute, and you've convinced me on that point. You're right, absolutely right. Arizona statutes treat ingestion and inhalation is different, and so you have to infer that inhalation is not included in that exclusion. I guess is the way you do it. My problem is I'm not sure what that hemp products definition does or means. Because there's nothing else that says you can sell hemp products, or here's how you sell hemp products, or anything like that. There's a reporting requirement. It's really, I think, the only other time he uses that term. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that.
Well, Judge, I think that if you take the definition, I believe speaks for itself. I think you can look to the frequently asked questions in the Department of Agriculture's website, where they say that you don't have to be licensed by the department to engage in manufacturing and distribution and sale of specifically speaking of CBD in that particular question. As the Attorney General's office pointed out, since their advisory opinion, those frequently asked questions were modified to say that these other products are not, but before they did that, before their advisory opinion, that language didn't appear in those frequently asked questions. So I think the legislature obviously knew that there would be hemp products manufactured and distributed and sold, including evidently CBD, at least according to the Department of Agriculture General's office. And so I think that it was understood that you could sell and manufacture these products, specifically in that particular question, CBD, without a license. And I don't think that there's any requirement that, as the Attorney General's office suggests in one of its briefs, that somehow you need to have a dispensary license in order to sell hemp products intended for consumption. CBD is intended for consumption, and the department says, no, you don't need a license to sell it. And the Attorney General's office isn't asking for anyone to produce a license in order to sell it either. So I think that it's clear that they did anticipate human consumption of hemp cannabinoid products, and they dealt with it, I think, I think they dealt with it by limiting that ingestion part, but then also in the frequently asked questions themselves, talking about, yes, you can sell it. They said the answer is yes, you don't need a license to sell CBD, which is a hemp-derived cannabinoid product. And also, I would point to the plan, the U.S. DOA production plan that Arizona submitted before they could commence operations, which allowed for the ingestion of part of the hemp plant called microgreens. Again, this is for ingestion, which is a signal that they left that ingestion restriction behind based on the language of 312E, that restriction no longer applied because it was now clearly legal and allowed for under the federal law, which in the industry was allowed to operate outside of that, outside of our pilot program in compliance with those federal laws.
Thank you. Thank you both for getting this in today. I will take it under advisement. You'll have a decision from me next week. I will sign that decision so that anybody can take an appeal if they want to, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. We'll be in recess.
Wow. Well, what do you think will be the decision? We will see next week. The hearing is adjourned. Damn. What do you think is going to come out of this situation? Do you think the judge is going to come back and say, look it, fuck it, sell it? Wow. How long was that? 3 hours, 3+ hours. Josh says, I think that these people should have to go through public speaking courses so they don't have to hear them humming us to death. Man, when I do my own playbacks, I'm like, oh, Jason, fuck. Man, I thought they'd have to make a decision right there. You know what I mean? I thought they were going to have to make a decision right there. Yeah, I thought I was going to get a decision right there. What do you mean? That's their job. You just heard shit. You got to think about it? What are you doing the past couple months? I did see that part, AZ Flavors. What's up, A baby? I did like the judge was almost like telling Tom Dean at some points, being like, look, man, chill. Like, I agree with you, right? When you hear I agree with you can look at it as a positive, right? You would think it's a positive, or is he getting buttered up? Getting buttered up. Murray out here saying 15 milli to the judge this weekend by a group of dispensaries. Judge about to get paid fat this weekend. If he pulls up in a Rari, then we know what's up. Judge is rolling up a wood right now. You think he's in the back pulling it up, being like, God damn. These motherfuckers, man, they let me make me free the weed. Free the weed. Man, we appreciate who watched that whole thing with me right now. Let's go and give a shout out to you. Who watched the whole thing with me right now, kicked it with me, watched this 3-hour hearing. Spence says the judge can agree with you, doesn't mean, and then the ruling he has to make. Agreeing with someone's interpretation of the law isn't going to change the AD's opinion. AZ Flavors, the detective's on his way to get some beer after that one. Oh, man, that detective is wild. No testing. I thought that was kind of wild how they basically just go off the testing the labeling, right? So couldn't you just put some product in there and be like, this is some fucking Colt's foot. Colt's foot is a basically a legal herb. Just put on there, legal herb, Colt's foot, whoop, whoop, whoop.
All right, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm sorry that was just...
If you suffer from one of these medical...
Yep. That was just a long show, but we hope that you got everything you wanted out of it. We hope you support the folks of Arizona, and we appreciate you being here. Have an awesome Weedsday Wednesday, and we'll be back soon next week. And then we do have some guests that are going to come on, so we are looking forward to that. As always, be smart, be safe, and educate. Check out tumbleweedshealthcenter.com for certifications and the Good Leaf Shop for access to hemp and CBD you can buy online. Thanks again, and happy Weedsday Wednesday, folks. Take care of yourself out there and take your vitamins. Happy Weedsday.